Hi everybody! Welcome to another Witchy book club. This is our last astrology live stream for Witchy book club. So I'm going to wait for some more people to roll in. I can see that a couple of you, or at least one of you, is already here. But this is our last time discussing the only astrology book you'll ever need, which is what we've been going over. So if you're just joining us for the first time today, watching a playback or anything like that, then welcome. But this is our last live stream for this book. I will be announcing the next book that we are going to be covering, but not quite yet. I just dropped my pen. Hold on. And I will need that. I will need that to show you guys the glyphs. Hi! How are you guys? Oh, my face was so close to the camera just then. I'm feeling very chill today, so I'm hoping that I can get enough energy for you guys, but also I feel like I have way too much energy sometimes, so maybe this will be kind of refreshing. It's super chilly out. It's like rainy and really cold. It almost feels like it's about to be winter, which is just wild. Michigan is wild. We have the craziest like bipolar weather here ever. And I'm drinking some coffee in a mug that has my mom and my stepdad on it. They got this for all of the kids. My brain is so foggy that I completely forgot about this being on Mondays. Sam, it's totally cool because I did almost the same thing, so it's cool. Yeah, I try to announce these or like remind you of them like during the weekend so that when Monday comes you guys remember and I remember. But I've had so much going on this past month that it's just crazy how time flies. But yeah, I'm drinking coffee out of a mug that says "Living the Dream" that my mom and stepdad got for all the kids, and it has a picture of them on it, which is just very funny to me. Okay, so like I said, whoa, blurry. Like I said, I'm going to. Wow, is that me or is that just like spirit? Before I get started, I am still trying to have other people roll in before I really get into it. And I'm sorry for you, of those of you who are watching the playback, because you're probably like, get started already. But I think I try to make an event when I do these live streams. So you can like post up a live stream event so that people can follow it, or they can put on the notifications and they can be reminded like what's next and they know what's coming. But since I live stream on my phone, it'll only let you make an event when you're on the computer. And so when I go to pull up like to start this live stream, I can't go and access that event that I made. So I think some people might be waiting for like the event live stream to start and realize it's not starting and then have to like find the new one that I started. So I'm sorry if that happened to you or happens to you. I'm still going to post the events because it is still a good way to like remind you guys or to know what we're talking about next. But just know that if you follow that I can't access that actual event. It's just kind of almost like a post so that you know what's going on. Okay, so I'm not going to start the actual meat lesson yet, but I do want to discuss a few things. One being, I'm going to go over my ethics again, even though this is the last live stream because I think this is still important. I am so grateful that you guys really connected with this book and this topic. I really truly did the best that I can, but I'll get 20 beautiful, wonderful comments saying like you guys connected with it, or you know, I was spot on for you and your signs, or whatever the deal was, and then I get one comment that's like criticism, and it might not even be bad, and I'm just like can't sleep at night tearing myself apart thinking like I didn't explain this well enough, or like, because that was honestly my biggest fear for doing an astrology series, is because there's no way that I can cover everything. Like there's just no way. It's like tarot, like you're always learning, you're always evolving, you're always connecting more dots together, you're always drawing your own, you know, conclusions to why something is some way, or connecting different signs to different things. And you know, I've been studying astrology for years now, but like I didn't want to post a series like this and like post videos. I knew that I would never put them up because going and editing them, I would be like, that's not good, that's not right. And I would pick myself apart, Virgo ascendant, and I just wouldn't get it up because I would be upset that I didn't cover everything, or that I might have not worded something in a good way, or, you know, whatever the deal was. So when I thought of this idea to be able to just do it off the cuff and talk to you guys like if you were here and explain things like I would my friends, it seemed like a little less anxiety ridden for me. It just felt like the only way that I was going to be able to teach you or to talk to you about what I know. But in return, when you do a live stream, it's like, it's live. Like, if I say something, I say something. If I word something a certain way, I word something a certain way. And whatever I bring up is what I bring up. So there's a couple signs that you guys, why would anyone criticize how you're teaching this? This is a free lesson for something extremely complicated. That's just rude. You know, I mean, some of the comments that I got that were criticism, like, I really do, but it's more so just, I feel like I need, for my own sake, I just need to reiterate to you guys that I really, really enjoyed doing this. I really, really hope that you got something out of it. I am not the end-all, be-all knower of astrology at all. Like, I know that. And I'm always learning and evolving and growing. And there's things that still, like, I'm like, wait, what? That's, what? No, wait, I thought... So, you know, and I learned from a woman who's been teaching and reading natal charts, astrology since the 70s. Like, she is a genius with astrology. But still, I am aware that there's things that I may have not said correctly, or not correctly, I said everything correctly, but maybe I touched on certain aspects of certain signs a little bit more than I could have focused on other areas. But I'm not going to retract. I'm not going to go back. I did the best I can. So please, if you want further knowledge into something, look it up. I have really great resources I could lead you to, or other really great channels you can find. But just know I did this in a live stream, so I really brought up what came to my mind. Like, I have notes and I have the book, but I'm not going to sit here and read to you word for word what's in the book. You could do that yourself. So I hope that you guys really enjoyed this. And maybe some people don't understand, like, the sun, moon, and rising are not all signs. We have so many more signs, but maybe some people don't know this. Yeah, and I think people can get easily offended when I'm talking about, you know, the pros and the cons of a sign and energy, because maybe I focused a little bit too much in some areas on maybe the cons, not even meaning to. It's not like I didn't like that sign or I didn't know enough information to tell you enough about that sign. But like I said, doing this live, you know, I'm saying what comes to me and what happens and what I'm feeling and, you know, what I remember. So we don't have to stay on this now that I've said it. I feel a little better. Just know. And no one was, like, super rude or anything. Like, it's not like someone was like, I hate you, you're the worst. Because honestly, I wouldn't have probably even brought it up. I would have just been like, well, that person doesn't know what they're talking about because I'm amazing. No. I mean, it was like the people who had actual, like, feedback and criticism that, like, I was like, ow, because that was my biggest fear for doing it, and you called me out on it. It was like I wasn't going to say things, you know, properly, or I wasn't going to cover all information, or maybe I was going to post or paint one sign in a negative light when I really love and truly adore every single sign and every single aspect of the pros and cons of each sign, like, genuinely do. So anyways, I feel better getting that out. Thanks for letting me start with that, because it's been on my mind, and honestly it's been making me anxious to do this stream, because now I have that fear again. But now that I'm live, it's like, whatever, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say and you guys are gonna hear it. So yeah, and just to recap, if you are watching this one for the first time and you haven't caught any of the last live streams, at least for the astrology series, you're going to want to go back and watch at least the first one. So if you're just considering watching this because you're a Capricorn, Aquarius, or Pisces, cool, I get it. Like, maybe you aren't very interested in learning everything, but you are going to want to go back and watch number 1, because I'm going to talk about, which is Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Even just to listen to, like, the first half hour of that one, because I talk about my ethics, I talk about all these I explain a little bit about what astrology is, my beliefs around it, and I use some key phrases or words that we've used throughout the series that might not make sense to you unless you watch that first one. If not, if you're just going to try for it, good for you. yeah, we're learning the glyphs. I think that's it. I think my biggest thing was just, you know, I understand that some people are going to take things really personally, or if they don't connect with something I'm saying about that sign, like you said, they might not realize, or they didn't listen and they didn't go to the first one and like look at the whole birth chart. It's like I'm just describing these in this series, these planets, energies, and houses as their like essence, is like the but there's so much that interacts with them. So anyways, needless to say, it's not that I'm excited to move on, but like I'm kind of excited to move on. It's a lot of work for me. The last thing I want to say before we get into announcing the next book and then learning the last 3 signs, planets and houses, is I thank you guys so much. Last week I had a couple people contribute to these live streams, and I could see it and I was very happy, and I expressed my thankfulness like when it was happening, but I was really trying to keep going with the live stream. And I just wanted to say thank you again to those of you who contributed via live stream. You know, you can put the money up or whatever, because I really do put a lot of my heart and soul into this, and it does take up a lot of my time. I want to make it free for you guys. Like, I don't want to make an e-course. I don't want to put it on Patreon. I want anybody to be able to click on this if they're interested and get some knowledge. And I really want you guys to interact with me, because it makes my heart so happy. So thank you to those of you who have contributed. Thank you to those of you who have just joined in and stayed with me and like kept me motivated and kept me wanting to do this. So thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. And some of you even reached out afterwards and was like, I couldn't do it live. How can I contribute? And I cried afterwards. So thank you again. All right. Now that I'm done and we're 12 minutes in and I haven't done anything, let's announce the next book. All right, you guys. I mentioned that this book club is so awesome. We are so lucky to have you do this, Sam. 100% grateful for this. Morning, gorgeous. Hi, Heather. Thank you so much. I'm Charmaine Gretch Haber. Oh, I butchered your name, I'm sure. Thank you so much. And I think that it's very difficult for me to not hear and see all of those like, you're amazing, this is amazing, and I'm like, oh my god, I am, this is, and then get one comment that's like criticism, and I was like, oh, I suck, and I like don't listen to any of the other comments. So that's really on me. That's really something that I need to get over, especially because I am almost to 2,000 subscribers already, and that might not seem like a big deal, because on the scale of like YouTube, it's really nothing. But like to me, I've worked so hard on building like actual relationships and connections with you, so that you're just not numbers to me, that when I see that I'm so close to 2,000 subscribers, I'm like, that means I have at least 1,500 people that like I am connecting, like, and all those other people might just be like randoms that don't even watch my videos, but I think that like, oh my gosh, I have 2,000 friends, and that sounded really cheesy, but honestly, like, I'm so excited. Hi Sam, love the headband. Oh, thank you. My hair was really greasy and I didn't know what to do with it, so thank you. I'm so sorry you went through that. I loved how you did these sessions. Don't let it get dim your shine. You can't help it if they take things away too personally. Yeah, thanks. But like I said, I don't know. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Congrats. I'm so glad I found your channel. Yay. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. You guys let me know what you think is the best. I'm going to announce the book, but I also have to preface that we're going to miss 2 weeks in a row this month of Witchy Book Club, and I'm so sorry. So next week I'm available to do this live stream on Monday, but I'm going on a week-long vacation with George and the kids. We're going to be traveling across country to Oregon, and we're having a huge family reunion in the middle of the woods, and we're going to be hiking waterfalls and staying in a big, huge cabin with like 20 of my family members, my grandparents, my mom and my stepdad, my brothers and sisters, like my cousins, or well, my aunt, uncle. Like, I am so excited for this, but I will miss not next Monday, but the weekend, but the week after. I'll give you the dates if I can. Oh, I can't, my phone. But anyways, so we're gonna miss that one, and then we come back like the next Sunday, and I just know that like I could do a live stream, but I think I'm just gonna cancel, because I don't want to get you guys' hopes up and then maybe exhausted or me not want to do that. So if I do pop in for a live stream, it might just be to like hang out and talk to you guys, but it's not really going to be Witchy Book Club, but it'll be at the same time as Witchy Book Club. So I'm going to play that one by ear. So what I'm going to do is we're going to announce the book. We're going to have one live stream next week, and then we're going to miss 2 weeks, and then we're going to continue. So whatever I assign for reading in between those 2 weeks is probably going to be quite a bit, because we're going to have lots of time to read the sections. Does that make sense? Okay, so without further ado, I told you guys it was either going to be one of 2 books that I thought, and I think most of you were leaning towards one book, but I decided against that one, and we're going to be reading Earth Magic. This is our next book, yay! So if you guys want to screenshot this, you can. Wait, hold on, let me make myself look good. Okay, ready? Okay, so the next book we're going to be discussing is Earth Magic. This is by Stephen D. Farmer. It's ancient shamanic wisdom for healing yourself, others, and the planet. And I'm really excited. We were going to do possibly The Witch's Shield. I was just looking through the content, and I think it's going to be a really great book. We still might do that one for these live streams, but I feel like it was really fact-based, and I kind of wanted to get into a little bit more of like something like this. So this is our next book. I'm so excited about it. I've started flipping through, and this covers so much. I will let you know we're going from like astrology, which I feel confident, well, sort of confident teaching now. No, something that I feel like I know a lot about and that I can talk to you guys about. As far as like shamanic knowledge and shamanic practices, like I'm very like new at knowing like the technical stuff about it, because I think a lot of this stuff is going to cover subjects in which I connect to already and that I know that I'm going to love, but it is brand new for me, a lot of it. So I'm really excited. It goes over so much stuff. I just flipped to chapter 12, and it says plant spirits and plant consciousness. So I'm really excited. So yeah, if you guys want to pick up this book, you can find it on Amazon. A lot of you were reaching out to me saying, like, I don't know if I can buy the book, you know, every time. You could always go and buy one used off Amazon. Like, you can find stuff really cheap. You might even be able to find it in your library. You know, and honestly, if you don't get the book, you can still hang out with us on the live streams. We're going to just be talking, and but if you want, I'm feeling like this is going to be a really great book. So again, Earth Magic by Stephen D. Farmer. It's backwards, but either way, you guys get it. This is our next book, and I'm really excited. I'm going to be posting a picture of it on Instagram, so if you want to wait, and I'll probably try maybe put a link or something in there so you guys can go get it. But here's my question for you guys, because sometimes it takes longer to be able to buy and receive the book. Like, it might not ship in a week. So for next week's live stream, do you guys want to do the first installment of Earth Magic? Or do you want to just have, thank you, Heather, do you guys want to do Earth Magic and do like the first installment of this, or do you guys want to do like a casual like Q&A, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit 2,000 subscribers by next week. Here's hoping. And we can do kind of like just a relaxed hangout Q&A, or do you think like, no, let's just start because I'm going to miss 2 weeks, so that means we won't even be discussing this for like 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? What do you guys think? Yeah, look on thrift books for used books. Yeah, for sure. Oh, by the way, we're already 20 minutes into this live stream. I'm pretty sure this is going to go for 2 hours today. So, yes, please, just a casual. Okay, so we have 1 vote for casual. Like, I'm really excited. Isn't there oracle cards that go with that book? I'm not sure if it goes with the book, but it has the same title and it's by the same person, and I received those oracle cards from one of you guys, and I'm so excited. And actually, I received this book from one of you guys too. So thank you and thank you. I did an unboxing, but I think I'm going to refilm it, of the Earth Magic, even though I've already seen the cards. But I don't know, the lighting just didn't really it just didn't come out that great. But I'm like flipping through this, and it feels like it doesn't really have anything to do with it. So I don't know, we'll see. What are you guys saying right now? Are you casual? Q&A sounds great. Okay, I thought the name was familiar. Yeah, so, okay. oh, I'm really excited to dive into this book, but I do understand that, like, the last time I announced the book and then the next week, a lot of you guys didn't receive the book yet, or you couldn't have the ability to buy it. They don't go together. Okay, yes. Oh yes, girl. Thank you so much. I got the deck that you purchased for me, and I'm so excited to open it. Thank you. You're so sweet. That was, I'm so excited, and it's so pink. I'm so excited. Thank you. I'm in Japan, so yeah, it might take weeks to ship. Okay, that's the plan. I don't want to stay on this for too long, but there has been no vote for anybody to start, so this is what we're gonna do. Watching the playback or not watching the playback. This is our next book. You have 3 weeks to purchase it and read the chapters that I'm going to say. And we will be starting this, I don't know. I think it'll be the last weekend of this month. I'll post it somehow on my story or something, or in the comments or in the bio below, when we're actually going to do the first installment of this. Next week, we're still going to do Witchy Book Club, and I'm just going to be doing a Q&A session. Okay, so next week, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be doing a casual Q&A, and then missing 2 weeks, and then starting this after. Does that make sense? Okay, I love you all so much. I will be posting that. Let's move on. I'm really excited. Yay! I'm also really excited for my vacation, you guys. I need it. And like, I miss my family, and I love nature. I love that we're going in the middle of nowhere. The last couple of vacations the kids and George and I have taken, or just George and I have taken, it's been very like activity based. Like, we're traveling here, and we're going to this restaurant, and we're doing this thing, and we're discovering this thing, and whatever. And we are going to be like traveling, but it's going to be hiking in the woods and going to see waterfalls. And my family is very like witchy and nature based and like crafty. So one of the things that we're doing is like a ritual that we used to do when I was a kid, and we make boats. So we have to go out in nature and find sticks, twigs, rocks, whatever is like non-man-made that you find in nature, and you have to create a boat from it, and then we go and we race them. So you have to make sure that it floats and that it can race, and we have competitions. Like, that's what my vacation is going to be. So excited. I need it. I'm so excited. Yeah, my family's really cool. Okay, are you guys ready to start? Are you guys ready to start? I'm very excited. Thank you again for being here. I hope you all have a great restorative vacation. Thank you, Victoria Lynn. Okay, let's start with Capricorn. And somebody had the great idea of like putting timestamps, so I went back on all the past live streams and put timestamps. So if you're watching the playback of this, there is timestamps in the description box below if you want to fast forward to your signs. I recommend you watching the whole live stream, but I understand that some people don't really care and they just, want to hear what I'm saying about their sign. But I recommend you watching all of this. Alright, so let's turn our books open. What page are we? If you have the only astrology book you'll ever need, you're going to want to turn to page 53. 53! And we're talking about Capricorn. One more thing, I'm going to say this one more time, is that I do want to continue doing astrology live streams. It won't be on Mondays. I'll announce them sporadically. It's not going to be consistent, but I'd like to go over Mercury retrograde. I'd like to go over transits. I'd like to go over some more. So even though I had that preface in the beginning of this live stream that I was like kind of discouraged and everything, I don't give a shit. I'm going to continue to do it, and because I want to get to the meaty, the really cool stuff, like transits and stuff like that, and interceptions, and so I will continue to do this. It'll be sporadic. You're going to want to follow me on Instagram, which is at Cloud9Studios, all wrote out. It's down below, because I announce when I'm going live randomly on my story. What is the name of the astrology book? I'm new. Hi, Saved Daily. The astrology book is the only astrology book you'll ever need, and it's by Joanna Martine Woolfolk. It's quite meaty, but we only went through some of this. We kind of dabbled on like over here. I didn't assign the reading, and then I want to be doing live streams on like all of this stuff. So for any of you who are like, I really want to know more, or I want to get into like the deeper stuff of it, I did want to announce that I am still doing that. Oh yeah, I wanted to do a live stream where we talked about all of the signs and their like who would connect with like movies and books, just have a chill, like, what character would this sign be, and kind of just talk to you guys about it, because that's really, really fun to do. Anyways, starting with Capricorn. Get on track, Samantha. Gemini problems. Whew, love it. Let's look at our glyphs. The glyphs have been backwards this whole time for you guys, so I'm really sorry about that. I hope you realized that sooner than I announced it last week. But you can go on Google and just put in, like, glyph for Venus, or glyph for, you know, Mars, or glyph for Libra, or whatever, and it'll show up. But I'm going to write these, and they are going to be backwards. This is, I think, a stupid way to write it. The way that it's written in the book looks kind of weird to me, but I'm gonna do what I think. And then what do we have for the, bear with me, I told you guys I'm like kind of out of it today. And then what is the, I wrote the wrong glyph for, oh, I'm so dumb. How did nobody call me out on that? Oh, I wrote the wrong glyph for, we talked about the wrong glyph for Sagittarius. This is not for Sagittarius. This is Saturn. This is Saturn. This is not Jupiter. Good Lord, woman. Oh no. Okay, you guys, it's happening. It's happening. All right. Cross that out. Let me show you the right. Dang. You guys, this is not okay. I'm really upset right now. Okay, stop. Going back to Sagittarius from last week, I wrote the wrong planet down. And I talked about the right planet. I talked about Jupiter being the planet of expansion and growth and opportunity, long distance travels, all that stuff, foreign lands. Live stream problems, I know. The book is the only astrology book you'll ever read. Thank you, Crystal. So I wrote this planet, that's Saturn. That does not go for, like, the opposite of this sign. So please ignore that. Oh my gosh, I really hope. This is Jupiter. And again, you're looking at it backwards, so you're going to have to write it the other way. This is Jupiter. This is the glyph for Jupiter, which is the ruling planet of Sagittarius. Good Lord, live stream problems. I cannot believe nobody called me out on that. You guys. So, this is Saturn. And again, it's backwards, but Saturn rules Capricorn. Now, there's these two ways to write Capricorn. This is what it shows in the book. I think that looks dumb, and I don't really see it done that way. Oh, I guess so. Here, let me do it another way. Because on your charts, it'll show, it almost is like a V and an S. I guess that's a little better. Like this. V. It almost looks like a V and then a cursive stupid S. I've always wrote it like this. And if you look it up on Google, it'll come up kind of like this. Where it looks like a backwards 3 for you guys and a little tail, like a little curly tail. Okay? On your birth charts, it'll most likely look like this. I read it like that. And this is the planet that rules it, Saturn. Oh my God, big mistake. But you guys know now. Hopefully all those people will see this at some point and know that I'm not an idiot. Okay. Capricorn. Capricorn is from December 22nd to January 19th. We are back on the duality of feminine energy. The element is earth. Remember, we have those patterns. So now we're back on earth. The quality is cardinal, and the ruling planet is Saturn. Saturn. The symbol is the goat. But a lot of the times you'll see, like, Capricorn as, like, this, like, goat with, like, a mermaid tail. So cardinal, fixed, and mutable are your 3 qualities that translate throughout each of the signs. And Cardinal is like the starters. They're like the beginners. They're the get going. Like, let's do this. It's much more action. It's much more like motive. Like, it's more. I can't say fire because it's not like that. It's like the beginners. They're the ones that start things. They're the ones that get things going. They're more of the motivating energy. Fixed is like it sounds. It's fixed. It can start things, or it follows in suit with the cardinal sign, but like fixed wants to stay where it's at and stick with something, and they don't want to begin something new, or they want to stay where they're comfortable. It's fixed. It's tending not to be like as shifting in views and opinions, or shifting in energies, or jobs or relationships. It's more so like they like things like the way that they are. And I'm not really explaining this very well, but just the gist of it, to re-explain it. And then mutable is like, they're not really the starters or the finishers. They're just, yeah, so cardinals, I would say, are definitely like the leaders. The leaders. Fixed are like the followers, but then they're not going to follow you once you lead them to one place and then you try to lead them to another place. So like, no, you let us here and we're going to stay here forever. And then the mutable is, I wouldn't say that much of the starters or the fixed. It's more so like wherever they go and whatever they do, they're just going to blend to that energy. They're very mutable. They're very adaptable. They're more like, I will just bend for what's going on. I will bend to whatever energy is present now, and I will make it work, which you can see how there would be pros and cons to that. They're, a little bit more all over the place. They tend to not stick with one thing or start one thing more than others. It's just kind of the in-betweens. So that's what that means. So when you are going and you're mixing things, that's why none of the signs are exactly the same. Because you could have a sign that's fixed, but that has a fire energy. You know what I mean? Or that's how they're going to interact with each other and be so different from one another. Same with the, it goes back and forth through masculine and feminine energy. I feel like I didn't explain that very well, but I think you guys got it. We'll move on. The symbol or the glyph we already went over. The dominant keyword for Capricorn, I think, is one of the most interesting key phrases, and it's I use. I use. Remember, we started with Aries, which is I am, Taurus, which is I have, Gemini, which is I think, so on and so forth, and Capricorn says I use. The part of the body that rules Capricorn are the bones, the joints, the knees, and they're often like have really, really good bone structure, teeth, but they are subject to stiff joints. Stiff joints, like anything that has to do with like moving or like joint pain or injuries in the knees. You're more prone to like having difficult time with your knees. I always think of Capricorn as like a dental sign. So a lot of the times, if you see somebody with like really beautiful, stunning teeth, there's a really good possibility that they have Cancer, like Cancer ascendant, or Saturn on their ascendant, or they are, did I say Cancer? Capricorn! Capricorn, it's like a dental, or you could work in the dental field. Not medical, dental. Or something that has to do with your joints, your bones, the way that you move around. If you're prone to arthritis, possibly you have a good chance of having Capricorn as one of your main energies. We didn't go any over that. So the danger for Capricorns is other people may harbor hidden grudges and resentments because of Capricorn's coldness and reserve. Secrets from the past are often used against Capricorns. So, Capricorns are really needed in this wheel of the cycle, as all of them are. But I feel like Capricorns are super important because they rule career, they rule So, oh yeah, we're talking about the 10th house. So now we've made our way around. We ended with the 9th house up here, and now we're moving to the 10th house in the chart. So anything in this window here, or we're talking about the qualities of that Saturn and Capricorn, that section of the chart rules career and achievements, authority figures, dad. So whereas the 4th house, its opposition, Cancer, was home, family, and mom, the opposition of that is dad, career, achievements, authority figures, like that. Saturn, the planet that rules it, is like our break. It's like our pause button. It's like our authority figure, or the parent that says, you have to clean your room before you go out and play. You have to do your homework before you go and hang out with your friends, like, or before you watch TV. Think of that energy in our lives as ways in which the universe might place things in our path to say, you haven't been dealing with this, you haven't been learning this, and you haven't been taking to what you know you could be getting done, or you should be getting done. Here's a curveball, and I'm going to make you deal with it. Which a lot of people can fight against and struggle with the energies of Saturn and Capricorn. But ultimately, you know you have to do your homework. So why are you procrastinating on it? So that's what I mean by like Capricorn and Saturn, its energies is like really, really needed, because it makes us take care of our shit. They're very responsible. They're very organized. They're very like, I'm going to take care of my shit first and then I can have fun. Whereas a lot of the other signs are either like, I'm not going to take care of that at all. Or like, yeah, fun first, then, you know, and not all of them, but I'd say Capricorn is like lists. Capricorn is like really, really responsible or career focused and career driven or achievement. They're typically not the people that want just like a job. And if they have a job, they take it very seriously. They take it like it's a career, even if they know it's not going to be their career. They're very serious. They can come off very cold. Again, please keep in mind that I'm describing this energy as its true essence. And just because you're Capricorn doesn't mean I'm calling you cold and stiff and like pulled back. You could have 5 other planets in Leo and it would totally like warm you up and brighten you up. The sun's coming out! You can see my face! Come to me, sun! This is just this essence of Capricorn and Saturn in general. The energy of the goat is a good way to describe the way Capricorns tend to act. So because it's the sign of like adult, as you said, Leo, the sun came out. I know. It was like, here, I'll help you. Girl, you looking a little dark in there. Oh my gosh. Seriously? It's so bright. Holy crap. It just went from like doom and gloom to like beautiful day. Okay. The goat, the symbol for Capricorn, is really well described for the energy of Capricorn because, like the goat, the mountain goat, that's a lot of the ways in which Capricorn tend to do things. And what I mean by this is, especially with children, I'd say Capricorn children have the hardest time because of the fact that they can either be very focused, very career driven, or very like serious and like mature for their age, like more mature than a lot of the other signs naturally, that they tend to feel out of place, or they tend to just want to grow up a lot quicker than everybody else, or they feel like they're grown up a lot more than the other signs because it's the adult sign. So having that energy as a child can be really frustrating for them and for other people to deal with because they feel like they're not comfortable. Capricorns are like wine. They get better as they age. And not that they're not good when they're younger. It's like, again, that like, it's the sign of like responsibilities and adult and getting things done and like career, and that's hard for children to deal with. A lot of the times I find that Capricorn children really don't go at the same pace as everybody else. They get things really quickly and they're very mature and responsible. So it's not that they like don't, it's not that it's like a learning thing. It's more so just like, it's not in their timing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they seem stressed as children. Could be. I guess that depends on what other energies are interacting with their sun, if it's their sun. Um, but like, I can see it in Michaela. Michaela is one of the most, she's a Capricorn. Michaela is one of the most mature, smart, witty, like, really, she's really always thought about careers and jobs. Like, she's always thought that way. She's really a hustler if she wants to be, like, she gets it. She's really, 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 really smart and mature for her age, but she does things at her own pace. And if you try and, like, force her to do something a certain way, or force her to learn or do something a way she doesn't want to, she's just not going to. And think about that as the mountain goat. It's more so not a rebellious thing. It's more so about, like, I'm going to take my time getting there. So the mountain goat starts, and he might be at the bottom, and he'll kind of work his way up the mountain and kind of stand there, take a look at the view, hang out for a second, eat a couple plants. I'll get to the top of the mountain. I know I'll get to the top of that mountain, but I'll do it when I want to, and I'll do it in my time. It's an earth sign, so it's slow moving. It's not going to be like a fire sign. Even though it's about career, it's like, I will go to school for years to make sure that I get that position and that CEO on company. I'm not just going to be some secretary. I am going to manage my own business. I am going to run my own dentistry. I'm going to do all this thing. I have a lot of planets in Capricorn, and all that rings so true. Yeah, and so for children, if you're thinking about it, when you're in a school system, you have a curriculum, you have timing, you have things that you're going to learn at certain times. And, like, while you think the rest of the class is on the same page, it might seem like the Capricorn child is not getting it. When they are, they're just going to do it in their own timing. I feel like this is something really important to say, because if you have a child that's a Capricorn, or if you were a child that was a Capricorn, you might have been talked to or been, like, evaluated on, like, is so-and-so the rest of the you know, up to par with this standard or this grade? And you totally were. In fact, you might have excelled everybody else once you got to high school or past high school, because you could finally do and go and be how you wanted. But it's that mountain goat. Like, it's like their goal is to get to the top of the mountain. Whereas a lot of the other signs, they don't even see the mountain. They're running around the bottom, or they're laying in the grass grazing down below. Whereas, like, Capricorn is going, that mountain, I'm going to get to the top. I'm going to have the career I want. I'm going to be so responsible. I'm going to be really successful. It's the success, and whatever you think success is, that's, like, what their achievements, you know. But they know and they understand that they have to get done what they need to get done first, in order to get there. Okay, that's, like, the best way I can describe, like, the overall energy of Capricorn. Yeah, like, making lists. So as far as we know, my mother has a Capricorn moon. We'll get to the moon, but basically she has lists for her lists. That's how she rolls. That's a really, I mean, that's also kind of like a Virgo energy, and I've picked that up for my mother. I make lists for my lists, but it's not in, like, a responsible way. It's more so for me to get, like, I have a lot going on in my head all the time, so if I don't put it on paper and go, okay, one thing at a time, Sam, one thing at a time. But my mom's energy with it is more so, like, here is all my responsibilities, and this is what I will get done. And mine's like, okay, here's all the shit in my head, let me vomit it on paper, because it's easy for me to just, like, go one by one and check it off, if that makes sense. So, yeah, your mom has a Capricorn moon. Again, we'll get to Capricorn moon. There's some interesting things with that energy there. They are the natural born leaders. It's a cardinal sign, remember? So we're really talking about the people that are going to lead. They're the CEOs. They're, you know, the managers looking to be general managers. They're really, I guess, depending on how the energy goes, they either really don't know how to take like, someone leading them, or if they have it in a mindset of, like, I must follow and lead and follow this person to get to where I can take over their job, or get to a position where I can go and get a better job than them. So I know that I have to listen to this authority figure and listen to this manager or boss, because one day I'm going to have to be telling somebody else this stuff, if that makes sense. So it's either one way or the other. It's like, I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid of authority figures, and like I just don't want to, I don't want to do anything wrong, I just want to be responsible, I want to do what I'm told, I want to be and do things the correct way. Or it's like, I'm going to listen to you because one day I'm going to take your job. One day I'm going to pass you on that mountain when you're least expecting it because you think I'm down at the bottom, and now I'm standing over top of you telling you where to go and what to do. It's a really great sign. All of them are, but like I don't really have Saturn in May. Like I don't really have a ton of like Saturn. I have some stuff in Saturn, and I have one planet in my 10th house, again, that makes things, that rules things there. And it's so when you're looking here, you can see that I have Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, in the 10th house, and Jupiter is in Cancer in this house right here. So, but I was raised by a couple different unique energies of Capricorn. So my grandmother, who is a Sagittarius, we talked about, the one that studies astrology, all this stuff, she has a Capricorn ascendant. So when it comes to the ascendant, people who have Capricorn ascendants, or people who have Saturn very close to their ascendant, within like maybe 3 to 5 degrees, that influences your ascendant. So when I'm talking about that, this is my ascendant over here in between the 12th and the 1st house. Uh-oh. Come on. Focus, honey. Focus. So you can see this green right here is Virgo. That is my ascendant sign, Virgo. If I had a planet like over here, 3 to 5 degrees away from this line, whatever that is, if you guys have that on your chart, it's influencing your ascendant, and it's almost as if you have 2. Or you could have 3. You could have 5. That would be crazy. If you do, message me because, honey, I want to see that. I would love to see that. But that's going to influence that there. And why I'm telling you that is because 2 of the signs we're going over today is that way for my grandmother. So my grandmother has a Capricorn ascendant. So that little green area isn't green for her, and it has Capricorn in there. So remember, your ascendant or your rising, same thing. More people say rising, but I was taught ascendant. So your ascendant is how you start things, how you could physically look, the kind of things that you draw to you, or the people that you like to draw to you, and the reasons why. Those are some of the reasons or attributes of your ascendant. When you have a Capricorn ascendant, you tend to dress or appear very adult, very managerial. So my grandmother has a very short haircut. She always really has. She's had kind of long hair, but she never had like long hair. It's not her jam. Short, to the point, like it's not even like a pixie cut. It's like she's got business going on. She looks like she could be the first lady if she wanted to be. Oh, that's another thing. It rules the government. The government, because it's authority figures. It's responsibility. It's the leaders. That's huge. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, but it's like the government as well. So that's her. She always is very like matchy. If she wears like a print of something, it's probably like a very soft plaid shirt, or it might be kind of flowery, but maybe not. So she normally is wearing like collared button-down, button-up shirts, very minimalistic jewelry. She's not gonna go all that crazy. She's normally wearing like slacks and tennis shoes, or like nice shoes. Comfort, practical, but also like nice. So it's like business wear or like CEO, and she doesn't leave the house a lot of the times. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's like she doesn't have a job, she doesn't need to leave, like, and she, you know, she lived out and worked outside her home, but she gets up when she gets up, and then she gets dressed. She doesn't lay around in her pajamas. She puts on her shirts and clothes, like her matching like turquoise button up with the collared tee, and her like tan slacks, and like you know. And so again, this doesn't have to be you if you're Capricorn. This is an example. I feel like my grandma as a Capricorn ascendant is like a very stereotypical Capricorn ascendant, and again, other things influence things in a different way. But I would say really beautiful bone structure, again, or really beautiful smile, big teeth, someone who cares and takes care of their teeth. Could be ascendant or any of the other energies. Really bony long fingers and arms or legs, or you can just like see like their bones, you know. Yeah, so that would be some of the things that, not all of it, but some of the things in the ascendant that could be for Capricorn ascendant, excuse me. Oh good, I just covered all of these notes without even really looking at this. I'm so good. Okay, things that don't come easy. Yeah, so kind of like one of the energies that sometimes has is like, things don't come easy. You really have to work for it. A lot of the times, remember when we were talking about Libra, how the Libra is all about balance? But a lot of the times you find that if somebody has Libra in a position of their chart, or they are a Libra, or, you know, Libra ascendant or moon or whatever, even though it's about balance, 9 times out of 10, I find that like there's an imbalance there, or a struggle to achieve balance, and that's their like goal, is to become balanced or to find balance or to learn balance in those energies. It's kind of the same thing I find a lot of times for Saturn or Capricorn. So if you have that energy somewhere, it's like, just because you are the leader and just because you are like a natural born, or you want to be the CEO, or you want to have the career, like, you do really have to work for it. It's not just going to come to you because that energy is there. Like, it's like, I'm going to climb this mountain. There is no elevator. There is no escalator. I cannot just fly to the top. Like, I have to put in hard work and like break my foot falling down a little bit or whatever it is, but I will get there. It'll be worth it, and no one else can stop me, kind of thing. Do you guys, no one's really commenting anything, so I'm really hoping you're just like taking it in and listening. So if you guys do have questions or something, just let me know. But I'm gonna keep going. Capricorns are hardworking. Oh, you did say so. Yes, so true. I'm so dependent on my mom when I'm around her. I'm a Virgo moon. Ooh, yeah, girl. My Mars, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are all in Capricorn, and I have a Libra ascendant. Mars, Saturn, Neptune are in Capricorn. Yeah, okay, so, oh, there's like so many places my mind's going right now. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Okay. Let's talk really quickly about Capricorn moon, and then if anything else comes up about Capricorn, we'll keep going into it, because we just did ascendant. So, Capricorn moon, remember your moon rules your emotions, possible dieting or eating habits, emotional way that you deal with things, other people, yourself, circumstances. It really rules your intuition and your emotional state. It also links with your mom, maybe how you feel about your mom, or your family. So Capricorn moon is, I think, a little difficult sometimes for others to understand if you're not really aware of it, because when it comes to your emotions and it rules your how you interact with things, you could think how somebody who is very serious, very hardworking, very responsible would be with their heart and their emotions. So it really depends, again, like I said, where the other energies of your chart is at. I'm going to use my mom as an example because I feel like she's a really good example of this. My mom is really loving and caring and a really great person to talk to get advice from, because that Sag mouth will just tell you whatever she wants and whatever she thinks, and most of the time she's right, but sometimes it could come out a little harsh. When it comes to my mom's emotions, like, I feel like she's just very responsible with the way that she uses her heart, and the way that she expresses herself is in a very adult way. And I think that being a child ruled by someone with a Capricorn moon, at least for me, there was, and Mom, if you're watching this, I love you, but I think I struggled a little bit with it, because a lot of the things that they would say or places that they would come from would not be of like as much of like a nurturing way. It would be in a like, here's the facts, take a look at this, be adult about it, And sometimes I just like needed like I just you know. And she did give me that. I'm not saying she didn't. I'm trying to explain this again. I'm kind of like watching my words. So please just know that this is a difficult sign and energy for me because I relate so closely to it with my mom. I feel as though Capricorn moons, they can come off very cold emotionally. They can come off very hard. They can come off very cut and dry, very like, again, it depends on the energies that you have that are affecting it, but they can come off very cold and responsible and like, I don't have time to do this. It doesn't mean that they're not emotional. They are. They really are. They can be. But to others, they can seem very cut off or very cold. When you first meet my mom, I go to my Scorpio moon sis for emotional advice. Good idea. Not that, but I don't know, if you want good advice, then, you know, the Capricorn moon will tell you exactly what you need to be doing and where you need to go and what, you know, like, to get your things met. But sometimes if you need, like, just want to, like, vent and, like, cry and whatever, they'll be good, but, like, they might seem a little disconnected. There's, like, a disconnect there sometimes. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I want to say about it, but honestly, it could really balance out a lot of the other energies though. Like, if you have an overly emotional moon sign and you have somebody with a Capricorn moon, it's either going to work or it's really not going to work, because you can end up balancing each other out and learning how like one person can kind of make somebody else more responsible and more like logical with their thinking and practical with their emotions, and then vice versa. The emotional one can open up the Capricorn a little bit and kind of let them learn how to like be more free with their emotions, or it's like, you don't get me, here's this and this, you know. Like I said, it just depends on how you choose to interact with other signs and use your signs that you were born with and your energies. The really great things about Capricorn moons is like, you know, they're not just gonna open their heart and like let you in, but if they do, it's kind of like the Scorpio, where it's like they're not gonna be upset as much as Scorpio will like hold a grudge and never let it go if you like burn them once you let them into their heart, because it's like secretive and it's like something very sacred to them, very intense and soul kind of connections here. For Capricorn, it's more so like when I do really connect with you on more of an emotional way, like I mean business, I mean long term. Like, I'm not gonna just let somebody in my life and not think of the reasons why I might marry them one day, or think of the reasons why there's going to be a long future here and they're going to hike this mountain with me. Most of the time, if that makes sense. It's an earth energy, so it's like, it's long term, it's very grounded, it's very practical and logical, and like, yeah. Okay, I think we're good there. I think we're good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Does anybody else want me to bring up? Yeah, when you flip to page 54 in the book, it says steadiness. They're extremely ambitious. I don't know if you got that from all of the things I said. I feel like I'm missing a ton. Gosh, I am probably missing a ton, and I know that I am, but I just met someone. Well, I didn't meet them. We have a friend that we hang out with a lot, and his daughters, he's got a couple daughters, and his one daughter came home, and we were having a few beers on the porch with our friend, her dad, and the daughter came home, and she had been working, and she had like really great like bone structure. She's kind of bony, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, she's got really long like bony features. She's got beautiful bone structure in her face, beautiful teeth, but very like business hair, like ponytail, but like business ponytail, or like things that are like, I mean business, you know. She works at a restaurant, and there was all these things happening at the restaurant. She was kind of venting to us when she got home, and I was looking at her, and I was like listening, but I do this a lot, and I'm like, good Lord, she's Capricorn. Like, the way that she was talking about this like restaurant job, I was like, how long have you been at your job for? She's like, 4 years. and she was talking about this job as like her career, even though I'm sure that's not what she's going to school for and she doesn't want to do. But like, it's not just some job, it's like her career. And the way that she like appeared, the way that she was, her outfit, her accessories, like just the way that she carried herself, like such an adult, so responsible and like serious. And I was just like, and then I didn't say it, but like somehow birthdays ended up being brought up later. She was like, everybody in our family was born either in the beginning of January or the end of January. And I was like, and you were born in the beginning of January? She's like, yeah, I am. I'm like, knew it! Yes, I knew it, honey, because you are very Capricorn, and I like it. Bunny Kisses 1000 said, hello, just listening while getting ready for work. Yay, I hope you have a really beautiful day at work. All right, you guys, we are an hour into this live stream. I hate to move on. I hate to move on. But does anybody have any questions? Because I'm going to move on. I feel like there's a lot more that we can talk about, especially with authoritative figures, government, leaders, all of that. But like, let's keep going. Let's keep this live stream going. Unless you guys have any other questions. 10th house, Capricorn, Saturn. Oh, big thing. Sorry, I do have to talk about this. So in astrology, there is when it comes to the transit, please move on. Thank you. Okay, but I do really, this is important because I think that we're going to have a whole nother live stream discussion about this. But with your transits, in astrology, there's this big thing that we talk about and that we learn about called your Saturn return. If anybody's heard of this, they know. I am coming up to my first Saturn return in the next year from now. So it takes roughly 29 years for Saturn to return to the same position in the sky where it was when you were born, okay? So when you turn 29-ish, give or take if it's retrograding or whatever at that year, you know, you do turn 29. It's like in between like the end of your 28th. It might even go like a little bit into your 30th year. It just depends. You'd have to get an ephemeris, saying a lot of words right now. But basically, your Saturn, oh, we're losing the sun. Your Saturn returns are very crucial, important times in your life because Saturn comes back and says, listen, you had fun? Did you have fun? Great. What are you doing with your life? What are some things that you need to be doing? What do you need to be taking care of? What do I need to show you? Here, like I said in the beginning, here you go. I'm returning to the same sign in which I began. Boom! Here's a big lifetime event that you need to deal with, karmically, energetically, whatever, that's going to teach you something, that's going to speed you up and get you to the top of this, little bit further on the top of this mountain. So then another 29 years from 29 would be your second Saturn return, or if you're so lucky to make a third Saturn return, great, great, great. So I just turned 28. I was looking in the ephemeris, and it looks like I might be dealing with some things next year, but the real energy might not present itself till like the end of my 29th year, maybe even the beginning of the 30th year. Again, I'm going to probably make an entire live stream on this, but I just really wanted to discuss this energy of Saturn and its transit. So, what I mean by this is like this could either be like a big, very difficult situation to deal with or a very big, like, monumental thing in your life. You could have your first child. You could get married. You could buy a home. You could, I don't know, move across country. It's going to be something big and life-changing and like really a lot energetically. Or you could lose a parent. You could lose a home. You could lose a pet. It doesn't have to be lose, I guess. But like my mind is, you could get demoted. You could break a leg or break something or whatever it is. Like it's going to be something that's going to force you to kind of reevaluate and retake a look at some of the things in your life. Does everyone have this when we are 28 and 29? I was told I would have a baby when I'm 28. Ooh, interesting. Again, like I'm saying, it kind of depends. You can look at your ephemeris. I was talking with my grandma about this the other day because it was kind of confusing to me why my best friend who was, oh, my Saturn is in Capricorn and my Saturn return is in January 2019. That sounds promising. Well, like I said, a lot of people are kind of fearful of it, and I kind of am guilty of this because I see in astrology and I see things and like people, it's almost like a tower moment. But you all know if you're in astrology that like the tower is really kind of difficult when you're in it, but when you're out of it, it's like, oh, wow, there was a lot of flaws in that structure anyways, so even though it was really hard, let's just knock the bitch down and start building from ground up. But again, it doesn't have to be doom and gloom. Like, it doesn't have to be like a horrible situation in which you like lose your house. It could be like you moved and you got like a new house and it was an upgrade and it was a really big deal because you have a lot of earth energy and you don't like change. So it's not like, it doesn't have to be bad, but it's like Capricorn's gonna come in here and be like, here's your situation you're dealing with, or multiple situations you're dealing with. Time to adult, time to get your shit done, time to learn who you are as a person. Let's do this. Are you ready? And you're either like, yeah, I'm ready, let's do this Saturn return, or you're like, oh my god, my life is over. Oh my god, you guys are saying so many things. Sam says, the Tower is actually one of my favorite cards. I love those renewal transitions. Same. When I'm in them, not so much. Victoria Lynn says, I just turned 30 this March 19th. A lot of big things happened all at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. Victoria Lynn, I hope that it's getting better or that it was good, or at least you could find, you can look back and see how much you evolved and grew up in that time with those events. Sam also said, those kinds of situations typically are me destroying past behaviors and replacing them with better ones. Yeah, honestly, I can't even give you a general gist of what this might be because it's going to be different for everybody, and I feel like everybody comes here to learn different karmic lessons, just my belief. And I feel like your Saturn return is whatever those karmic things are or the things that you're avoiding or whatever, 29 years-ish, 28, 30 years-ish, depending, is when the universe goes, let's deal with this. Here's your lesson. You've kind of touched on it a little bit here and there. Here you go. Tower card vibes big time. It's so much better now. Good. I am so glad. And honestly, I know you know you're better for it. Or that you have grown up. Yeah, it was really rough, but I got through it. I know. And that's the thing. That's why I'm like, I'm also kind of scared for my Saturn return. But it's beautiful. Like, honestly, it could be something amazing. It really, really could. Yipes. Just joined. We'll watch the replay. Happy Monday. Hi, Paper Bits. How are you? Okay, now let's move on. But, like, I highly recommend if you haven't turned 28 to 30, or if you're going to have your second Saturn return and you're, you know, or third Saturn return and you're watching this, and you can kind of look back to like those lives. So my grandma, when she turned 28 or 29, she got a total hysterectomy. So to her, it was like, they did it for medical reasons back then because she had endometriosis and all this, and polycystic ovarian syndrome, and they didn't really know what to do with that back then, so they just took everything out. And to her, it was like her solution, so it ended up being a big thing, but it was a huge, huge deal that she still deals with now in her later life, that like a lot of things could factor into having a total hysterectomy. So again, it doesn't have to be bad, but let's move on. It's really important. Like, and I'm coming up to mine, so I am like really nervous. I'm like really, really nervous, but I'm also excited. All right, you guys, we're moving on. Check out Saturn return though. Aquarius, we're talking about Aquarius. Good luck, Sammy. Thank you. My channel might be very interesting in the next year from now. No, I know, I'm not trying to scare any of you. It's just like, I guess because I'm so aware of Saturn return and I see and I've heard stories and like I know what could happen. I could see. But I also, like, I'm like, I know, I guess maybe just because my life is so really great and cushy right now, and I'm such, like, an earthy child, like, I got my Taurus moon, I got my Virgo ascendant, I got a lot of earth in my chart, and a lot of water. I'm, like, scared of change. That's, like, me. That's on me. So, we'll see what happens. But it could be really great change, you know? So, anyways, change is good. Responsibilities are good. Aquarius, on page 58. We're now going to the next sign, which is Aquarius, 58. I hope that I explained that sign well. If not, fuck it. This Saturn return thing is crazy. I just researched my wife's, and the dates completely line up with her breakdown and recovery last year. Just saying. Yeah, so take a look now, Sam, at the things that she dealt with and she went through during that Saturn return. Did she kind of need to deal with things? Like maybe it didn't happen in the best way, maybe it wasn't handled in the best way, but that's the way that she chose to deal with it. Or that maybe the circumstances were brought up karmically or energetically by the universe. And I know that sounds kind of maybe shitty as like an outside view. It's like, you don't know what we went through kind of thing, and I'm sorry. But ultimately the Saturn return puts things in your path so that you deal with them like an adult, and you learn and you grow and you become better and wiser and more in control of yourself and your circumstance. And it really, really genuinely is for the better. But when you're going through that tower moment, it's like, honey, this sucks. 1000% she's on the path that she actually feels passionate about. She's a totally different person and now can handle her anxiety with no problem. Yay! Saturn return! Yay! Anyways. Oh my god, by the way, I love the way that Michaela spelt Pisces. She kind of spelt it like, if I were to sound it out phonetically, it looks like it sounds like feces. Feces! But we're not on Pisces, we're on Aquarius. And I probably am going to have to take a pee break. But let's go. Aquarius, page 28. The dates for Aquarius are January 20th through February 18th. We're back because we just talked about Capricorn, which is feminine. Now we're on masculine energy of Aquarius. Remember, we go back and forth. My Aquarius is in my 4th house. Curious to what that means for me. Remind me of that later, and I might be able to help you to pick up the dots, but right away I can just tell you that you're never going to live in a house or a home that doesn't have something unique to do with it. Whether it's the street you live on is unique, part of the house's history is unique, your living situation is unique and different, or maybe your relationship with your mother was very different and unique, or your family is kind of unique. Like, all our families are unique, but or your relationship. Anyways, sorry, I just told you to remind me of that later, and I just told you a lot. So the element is air. So remember our pattern, we just talked about earth, and now we're on air, and next time we'll go back again. Wait, no. Earth, air, and then we'll do water, and then it starts over again. Hi there, how are you? Welcome to the live stream. We're talking and beginning on the sign of Aquarius. So it is a fixed sign. So we have masculine, air, and fixed. Let me draw you guys your glyphs for Aquarius. So, okay, we're going to do, this is Aquarius. Let me see how it's written on the charts for, oh yeah, that's, I can't remember if there's any other way I remember seeing that. No. Okay. So, I'm trying to think if there's any other glyph that I've ever seen for Aquarius, because I feel like there is. You know how I've said, like, for Pluto, you could write it this way or this way? But we'll just go with this one. So, again, this is backwards, but for these kind of signs, geez, camera. For these kind of signs, it is going to be the same way either way. So this is the sign of Aquarius. This is the glyph for Aquarius. It's like almost like waves, but they're like sharper. So they're almost like static or energy waves. And there's typically 3 points and 4 like down points. So if you want to start, it's like down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then there's 2 lines for it. Which it doesn't really matter if you mess this up. People will probably know what you mean, but in the book, it's not even written like this way. But I've always seen it written like this. In your birth charts, there's only like, it's like missing one of these. You know what I mean? So basically, it's just like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, 2 lines. People will know it's Aquarius. And then this is Uranus, which is the ruling planet of Aquarius. And it kind of looks a little alien symbol to me, doesn't it? Like, it almost looks like signs or like something that you'd see in a crop field or something. So this is Uranus, which is the ruling planet's glyph for Aquarius. Okay, so, okay, we're doing good. Just had to check in with myself. So, the symbol for Aquarius is the water bearer. So it's one of the ones that doesn't have like an animal. You can see it's normally either like a water basin, like being poured out water, or it's an actual person pouring water, like this. If you can see that, I'm not sure. That is their symbol. And it's dispensing a gift that flows freely and equally to all, representing creation and giving the light and the giving of life. The water that the water bearer pours symbolizes truth, which you freely give out to the world. I have an Aquarius moon. Ooh, we will be talking about that for sure. So that is kind of a little bit of what the symbol is. We'll go more into it. The keywords for Aquarius is I know. So we're talking about air. It's about intellect, information, communication, whereas Gemini was I think. Aquarius is I know. What else did we... Oh, Libra is an air sign, and it is I balance. This is I know. Let's see. Parts of the body ruled by Aquarius. The circulatory system, shins, ankles. Aquarius natives are prone towards ankle sprains and breaks. Also, varicose veins and hardening of the arteries. Yeah, I would say I can agree with all of that. I know somebody who has literally half of their chart is Aquarius, and it's all in the house of Aquarius, and the other half is all Capricorn. So when I'm talking about this, you can see how it's like very conflicting, but she was somebody who always had bruises all over her shins. Like, she's just very shin prone to accidents, or like she like walked with her shins first. I don't know how to explain that. She was always bumping into things in her shins. Like, still to this day, she just has bruises all over her shins, and that she would sprain her ankle. Let's see, what else? The danger for some of the Aquarian people out there, or the energies of Aquarius or Uranus, is that they're really innovative. They're unconventional and sometimes eccentric, and are therefore often targets for attack by narrow-minded people. Aquarians also have a tendency to get into unusual situations and take up with oddball individuals. They're extremely friendly. Extremely friendly. They do have a very sharp tongue. They're very witty because it's an air sign. Yes, they are aliens. I love them. Yeah, so I used to have kind of a hard time with Aquarius because I'm very like Virgo, like I like things the way I like them, and I have a very like, I don't know, I have a hard time with like unique and different things. Like, I want that, so I think I reject it because I think I'm so plain Jane, and I think that I'm so like ritualistic and like steady in my ways that like when I find somebody that's like totally just so unique and different and shocking, and like my first reaction when I was younger is to be like, oh, they're like, no, you know, and I can admit that, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so different, come here, like talk to me, like I'm so interested and curious to what you think and how you do your life, you know. So basically, my husband is double Aquarius. Varicose veins runs in his family. Is stubbornness in there somewhere as well? You know, it's fixed. It's a fixed sign, so it doesn't really like change. But it's also an air sign, so it's almost they're pretty stubborn in their opinions and their thoughts and their ways. But also it could be whatever else is in their chart. It really depends. Last time I used the word stubborn with somebody, they were like, so they're very fixed in their ways. It's anything unique, shocking, different, progressive. They're inventive. They have very strong opinions. They're very unconventional. It's modern science, hopes and dreams. friends and wishes. They are extremely rebellious. And we're going to talk about that a lot. More of a Dutch trait, I think. Cool. They're emotionally detached as well as Capricorn or maybe some of the other signs, but it's for different reasons. This is the sign that typically rules the LGBTQ plus community because it is shocking and different and against the grain and unique and unusual towards our standards. Now, I'm going to preface this saying that there may be a shift with this energy currently. In the past, like in the last couple decades and before that, it definitely was the LGBTQ plus community. If you had Aquarius, you were either understanding or can relate or maybe was very open to that energy, or you could have tendencies to fit into that community, or have maybe somebody, depending on where it is in your chart, you could have somebody in your life that is that you connect with, kind of thing. Does that make sense? But there has been a big shift with the acceptance and the understanding, and like it's not as unique, it's not as uncommon, it's not as shocking to people anymore because they're getting it, that it's just, you know, natural and normal for some people. And so there could be a definite shift with this sign being related to that, but I'm still going to teach it to you because from like a couple decades ago and before that, this would definitely be the sign of the LGBTQ plus community, because it was so different and shocking for a lot of people to see somebody that was either gay or to interact with somebody that went against normal social standards, normal social practices, and still might be in whatever country that you are. I'm talking really more so for like the US, because it could be something completely different in another country. If you're watching right now, you could still have very like conservative ways about wherever you live. So if it is anything that has to do with being different, shocking, unique, against the grain, chances are you have a lot of planets in your 11th house of Aquarius, or you could have quite a few, or maybe one major area of Aquarius. That's something that is a factor. Now, it doesn't have to mean that if you're an Aquarius or you have it in your chart that you do fit in with that standard, because there's a lot of other unique, shocking, different, against the grain kind of things that you could fit into. But I feel like that is a really good that's a really good example of how something could be shocking, unique, against the grain. Another thing is like tattoos, piercings, different colored hair, anything physically. So this would be more so kind of for like an ascendant, or maybe even like your moon or your sun. If you have Aquarius, chances are something about you is going to be unique and different, or you like something that's against the grain, that goes against social standards. Whereas like in the last couple decades and before, if you had a tattoo, you could have been like, oh my gosh, she's got a tattoo, what? Or like, I'm gonna go rebel and get a tattoo, or whatever. Like, that's not as uncommon anymore. But for my mom, like growing up, which supposedly, we don't know her time of her birth, but when my grandma charted it, my mom has a Sag sun, a Capricorn moon, and an Aquarius ascendant. Sometimes I get that, and sometimes I don't from her with the Aquarius ascendant. But it was very shocking and unique and different for me to have a mother that had like 8 piercings, 4 tattoos, and be so openly public about it and her difference, and liked to be shocking and say things that were shocking and different. She had a very different career than anybody I knew. She was an aromatherapist. She had her own spiritual business where she sold and made her own lotions and oils and had crystals and like did these like holistic fairs, where a couple decades ago when I was growing up, like there was this like knowledge of it, but I feel like it's way more new age now than it was when she did it. And when people talk, and it still is a little weird for some people when I'm talking to them and they're like, you do what? But I feel like for my mom it was even worse. So she was having that like against the grain, different norm of social things. They're very independent. Yes, my Aquarius friend has purple hair. She has an Aries moon too. Oh, that's so true. When it comes to anything, as soon as everyone has it out, I'm on the next thing. Yeah, like if you tell Aquarius this is what's cool, no. You can believe you me, they are not going to like it. Or they're not going to want to like it. They might like it, but they're not going to like it. Because they want to like what everybody else doesn't like. They want to know that they have something that's different. Or that they're learning something that's different. Or that they're going against the grain. Aquarius children can be typically very rebellious and difficult if in a family that doesn't get Aquarius energy or Uranus energy. If you were born to a whole family of Capricorns and Virgos and Taurus or whatever, like a lot of that other like earthy, like very fixed, very, you know, Virgo, I would say definitely. If you came from like two parents that were Virgos and you had a ton of Aquarius and you were the child, like you were the black sheep. You were the one that they did not understand. You know, not always, but like that would be a very stereotypical, like you probably had a hard time fitting in with your family. If they didn't understand or accept you for your differences and your, you know, your unconventional way of thinking. Like you don't have to be this blue-haired, you know, bisexual, pansexual kind of person like that's like crazy tattoos. Like you don't have to be that, but chances are you don't feel like you're understood by a lot of people because you don't really want to be understood. Depending on what other planets interact with you, but you want to be your own person and you want to feel like nobody else is like you and that you have your own thing and that you are your own thing. They're the ones that are going to rule the causes, the social causes. I am a Taurus with an Aquarius moon. Interesting. Oh, let me go back. Yes, my Aquarian friends and I are so rebellious at school. Never listen to class. I'm a Sag sun. Oh, honey. That's fun. So I limited to one tattoo. There you go. You wanted to be different, but like also comfortable with what you have. That's cute. I like that. Yeah, so my best friend Allie, the double Virgo, she has an Aquarius moon. So like she is very Virgo. Health system, ritual, she can be very critical, either used for good or kind of difficult ways. But she's really, really like got her shit together. She's got a routine. She's really giving and helping and serving to others. She's very sweet. But emotionally, the way that she handles things or the people she's attracted to or like the circumstances in which she is finding herself, expressing herself, sometimes I look at her and I'm like, what? Like, that is so different. Like, that is so not what I thought was going to happen for me. It's just she keeps me on my toes with her when it comes to her emotional choices or the way that she expresses herself. Because I'm so used to her being like, this is how it is. Like, this is like her ritual. I can predict her like very, to a T. And then all of a sudden she'll do or say or feel something or, you know, bring someone into her life or whatever the deal is. And I'm like, wait, what? that was different. That was shocking. I'm shocked, you know. Chances are if you have an Aquarius, or you are an Aquarius, or you have Uranus somewhere unique, or in these other areas, you are, you know, going to shock people, and you love it. They're really inventive, though, because they can think outside the box, unlike any other sign. They're so inventive, or they're so great at coming up with new ideas, or seeing things in a different way than any of the other signs, because of the fact that they can really look outside. They're outside of the box. They're the most outside of the box, and so they do rule modern sciences. I would say that the people that like invent like new technological devices definitely have the ability to have Aquarius in a main part of their sign or their chart. I mean, the sun's back. Oh, and it's gone again. So because it's like no one ever were to think like these new inventions that came out, or the first person to invent like you know, a cordless phone or whatever it was. These like inventors probably had, or back when you're learning in school about like Thomas Edison and all these people that were like inventors or coming up with things in a different way. They were the ones that wanted to learn and to think outside the box and have unconventional careers and to come up with these things like here's what I'm thinking, here's what this, I'm going to invent this, and it's going to shock, and it's going to be so weird. No one's ever thought of this, or no one's ever done this before. Here it is. And then everyone's like, wow, actually, that's a really great idea. I can't believe I didn't think about this. And Aquariuses are like, I know. So, what else here? Any questions? Does anybody have anything? When it comes to the, trying to think. Well, actually, so to go back, really anything. Oh, that's something I wanted to talk about. Remember when we were talking about, like, you could have one sign and then something over the top of it, and it kind of like mashes with it, or it mixes with it, and depending on what those signs are, it either can like enhance each other, or it could be like, whoa, that's really drastic and different. So my grandmother, who has that Capricorn ascendant, the short business haircut, keeps it the same, very responsible, parental, like CEO looking hairstyle. Very collar tees, white button up, or, you know, blue button up, very plain Jane colors, slacks, you know, good to go. She has Uranus right over her ascendant, so, or in her first house, like very close to her ascendant. So you could read that as her also having an Aquarius ascendant. Now, this doesn't come out for her in her physical appearance, because her physical appearance is very Capricorn. But when it comes off, like how you first meet her or how she starts things, you can see, so she's very approachable as an astrologer. You see her and you kind of go, you're 76 and you dress like a businesswoman, and wait, you read astrology? Or some of the things that my grandma says, or how she starts things, or, you know, the kind of people she's attracted to or brings into her life are very unique and different. My grandmother is as straight as it could be, but all of her girlfriends are gay. All of them. Like, with an exception of maybe 2. But my grandma's got a lot of friends, and they're all lesbians, and they're all, I love them all, they're so great. But, like, my grandma brings those kind of people in because she gets it, and she understands, and she's very open, and very, you know, while she's still very Capricorn herself, and how she is, and, you know, with her, how she is, she's very straight, and she's got her ways, and she feels how she feels. She's very accepting. She's very attracted to, like, having friends and surrounding herself with people that are different, or people that can think outside the box. And she's just ended up having this really big lesbian friend group that just makes me so happy. But yes, you wouldn't notice when you first approach, or when you see my grandmother, that she's into the things that she's into, or the way that she says or handles things would be how it is if you're looking at her physically. So that's a really, really good example, I think, of how, you know, it really depends. Like, you could have an ascendant and feel like sometimes you don't really relate to it, but if you take a look at what planets might be interacting very close to it, like, my grandma can come off very Capricorn, and then you talk to her and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? I did not see that coming. That just shocked the hell out of me. I'm sure I'm missing a ton of stuff, but it's an hour and a half in. I need to take a pee break, and we need to move on. I'm missing so much. Does anybody have any questions or things that they'd like to bring up about Aquarius? Any, like, comments or things that you found? They're also the ones that are going to rule, like, activism, or like bringing friends together. Like, it's really the group of, like, friends, or like a community. Like, they're really into, even though they go outside of, like, the social norms and social standards, when they find themselves where they do feel like they fit in, they're still going to be unique, but the communities that they're going to be a part of is going to be, like, really different. They're really good at, like, standing up on a soapbox and being like, this is what I feel, this is how it's like activism, making changes. They're really the ones that are going to start and revolutionize big shifts and changes that need to happen, that have tried to happen for a really long time. You know, that they're not afraid to speak out and to be different and to say, I know that we need to shift this energy. There needs to be a change here. Yeah, they're really outside the box. Anything? No one's saying anything? No one's saying anything? Okay. Honestly, again, I feel like there's so much that I'm missing that I am, you know, forgetting here, but I need to pee. And we're already an hour and a half in, so we are going to move on. Please hold for this commercial break of nothing and static, and just please give me a second. I have to pee. Okay, thank you. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm back! Did you guys have fun with each other in this chat? Jeopardy music? Oh my god, that laugh. The soap that somebody gave me for my birthday, oh my gosh, it smells so good. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna go wash my hands because I really want that soap on me. So, shout out to my friend who gave me that when they came over for my birthday. Okay, so, I think we can move on. I know that there's, again, a lot that I'm probably missing, but let's keep going. We're on to the last sign. Can you guys believe it? What scent is it? It's like one of those like homemade soaps that are like natural and like, I don't know, it just smells like kind of almost like fruity and floral, but like, it smells really, it's very Venus-y, but it smells really, really good. Okay, you guys, let's move on to Pisces, our last. You're a Pisces rising. Wonderful. Let's move on. How do Pisces risings dress? We'll get there. We will get there. So we're gonna move on now to Pisces. 64. I know you're like, come on, talk about it. Page 64, we're on Pisces, or as phonetically, like Michaela wrote it, feces. Me too, Pisces rising, yay! Okay, so Pisces is from February 19th to March 20th. Pisces is now back to the feminine energy, because we were just on the masculine. My sun sign, Pisces sun, Aries moon, Libra rising. Ooh, you got a gangle of energies in there. You got a little water, fire, and air there going on. Good for you. So now we're back to water. So remember, our pattern is fire, earth, air, water. We're ending on the last sign with water. Then it would start back again to Aries, because it's a wheel. There's not a line, it's a wheel. And the wheel is back to air, which is the beginning sign of Aries. So we're on water now. So the element for Pisces is water. Did I say that enough? Water. The ruling planet is Neptune, the ancient god of the sea, second of the modern planets to be discovered in 1846. In astrology, Neptune is the planet of illusion, glamour, mystery, and deception. Let's look at our glyphs. Pisces and okay. So this is Pisces. It almost looks like an incomplete basketball. But it's two inward curves. I don't know what this was over here, sorry. Two inward curves and then a line through the middle. That is the glyph for Pisces. This is the ruling planet of Neptune. It looks like an H. Yeah, but be careful not to write like an actual H. Like the lines need to be curved on the two that are like going up and down or vertical. They're like curved. So I tried to do that, but I didn't do them really enough. And then the line for the middle is just like a horizontal line. And then this is the glyph for what am I talking about? Neptune. This is the ruling planet. It kind of is like similar to Uranus. So if you're not paying attention, or sometimes I'm kind of can mix them up when I'm looking at a chart. I need to be very aware and focused because sometimes the glyphs can be very, very small, so it's hard to see them. But this is Uranus, this is Neptune. Think of it as like the trident. It looks like a trident, so think of it as a trident, and you'll have an easier time remembering. So, okay. Where are we at now? Okay, the common or the dominant keywords for Pisces is I believe. I believe. I believe. They're very compassionate. But let's keep going. Sorry. The parts of the body that's ruled by Pisces is the feet. We've worked our way down all the way through the body. If you could see how that worked. Head, Aries, all the way down to the last sign, Pisces, feet. And then in the middle, we got some in-betweens here, but you know. Oh, we're losing the sun again. Oh, come on, I look much better when the light was out. I look really tired when it's not. The parts of the body is the feet. Pisces peoples have beautifully shaped, sensitive feet that are unfortunately prone to aches, bunions, corns. Ill-fitting shoes are a particular hazard to people of this sign. You need to take really good care of your feet. Or most of the time, you might even have beautiful feet that you could be like a model, foot model. The danger for Pisces peoples is that they have a high susceptibility to alcohol and drugs. We will get to that. We've touched on this with some other signs, and this will be one of the things that we definitely go over. They are also easily drawn into unpredictable situations and to unbalanced people. Interesting. Interesting. Yes, I have flat feet, and people say my feet look nice, but I can't wear normal shoes. I would say that is probably, yeah. My grandma, my grandma's Pisces moon, so we're really touching on her with these last signs here, but she has a lot of issues with her hips because of the Sag energy. Remember, Sag rules hips, and her alignment of her feet and her shoes. Her feet can hurt, so she always has like nice shoes on, but those like Vibram, or not Vibram, like there's like a type of shoe where like it changes the alignment of your legs and your feet and your hips. So she always has like either Birkenstocks on or something that like molds and mends to her feet so that she can have like comfortable shoes on. Wow, I feel really out of it. Okay, so remember we're talking now about the last house, which is the 12. Last piece of this pie chart here, and then we would begin again with 1. Start going around again. So some key words for Pisces is impressionable, emotional, because it's a water sign, receptive, don't take this the wrong way, but naive, changeable. We have mutable as a sign, so they're changeable. Mystical, very friendly, likable, but also moody. Dreamy, psychic. This is the house of fate and karma and other lifetimes, and like illusions and mystery and subconscious. True, everyone says I have cute small feet, but boy do I get foot aches from time to time. I have my Mercury in the 5th house. My Mercury, 5th house, an ascendant node in Pisces. I have my Mercury. So Mercury rules how you speak, how you communicate with yourself and others in Pisces. So when we're thinking and talking about Pisces and Neptune, translate that into how you might communicate with yourself and others. The 5th house and ascendant in Pisces. And node. Sorry, that's a lot. I can't. I'm trying Victoria Lynn. Yeah, so true. My Virgo moon sis says I'm so naive always. And I'll explain to why that might be, you know, or why they connect with being naive. They're really drawn to fantasy, anything otherworldly. This is the sign that is really spiritual as well. Like we talked about you know, Virgo being like one of the like possible religious signs when it's like maybe like ritualistic kind of spiritual, or like maybe like religious and a this is what we do on these events and these days and every day we go to church this day. Sag is very spiritual because it's like, let me talk about a higher power and let me see the big picture and let's talk psychology and let's talk about why the earth and the world works. And Pisces is the intuitives. Like, there's a lot of signs that, like, pretty much any of the water signs have the capacity to be intuitive. But I would say that Pisces are the ones that just get things and they don't even realize it sometimes. So a good example of like someone being intuitive and not really using it or knowing what it is my boyfriend George. So he's a Scorpio with an Aries moon. Honey Chat, we talked about that. And he has a Pisces ascendant. He like gets things. I can see him predicting situations, and it's not by using his logic. It's by using his feelings and his what he knows. And it's so funny because unless you get to know him like a lot and you really interact with him on a like a long time relationship like terms like me, you would never know. But he is extremely intuitive. He just doesn't know that that's what it is. So just because you have someone that is Pisces energy or has Pisces or whatever, doesn't mean that they have to be like learning tarot and talking astrology. They are getting information on a deep soul subconscious level and they might not even realize it. Video games, anything that will take, okay, so a lot of the times Aquariuses feel, we're talking Aquarius, I know we're talking to Pisces, but Aquarius feels like they don't belong here, like they were meant to go somewhere else, or that they never fit in and whatever. But a lot of the times it's kind of by their own doing or choice. Not always, you know, sometimes, like I said, if you fit into the LGBTQ plus community and you were raised in a very Catholic, conservative, or whatever home that was like very judgmental and didn't get that, you know, that's not really your fault or your choice. But Pisces actually feel sometimes like they don't belong here, or like they weren't always here, because it's like the subconscious, it's the other worlds, other realms, it's fantasy. So a lot of the times Pisces are really drawn to things like anime or cartoons or fantasy or video games or magic or anything that's going to talk about spirit or, you know, stuff like that, because it's taking them out of reality, which is also kind of a downside. Is sometimes Pisces are so into other worlds and otherworldly things and kind of discovering and learning through this emotional connection to like fantasy books or movies or characters, or living in this dreamlike fantasy state all the time, that it's really hard for them to be responsible or be connected to the here and now in the physical realm, if that makes sense. Oh my god, I felt that way since I was a little girl. I say it all the time to this day. Yes, so true. I'm not from here. I'm an alien. I can imagine that if you were an Aquarius mixed with a Pisces, that you really feel like you don't belong and that you weren't here, or that you're always somewhere else as well as here. One of the things that's really important for Pisces is to learn how to be in the here and now, and to kind of learn how to be more practical and kind of, they have this like rose-colored glasses. So that's where the naive things come in, because of the fact that their focus isn't mainly, again, it depends on where you have this Pisces energy or this Neptune energy and what other things are going on within your chart. This energy as an essence, as a whole, is like such in this like dreamlike, childlike, otherworldly state of way of thinking and feeling their way through the world emotionally and, you know, sensitivity wise, that it's really sometimes hard for them to not get swept away in that, or because they're just, yes, people tell me I'm so childish. Well, that's not very nice. You know, there's ways to word things, because Leos can be very childish, but childlike. It's not in a negative sense. They're really energetic and fun and loving, and they're ruled by the sun, which is like, yes, let's go play. Let's go do things that are fun. So they're really good with kids, or they have a childlike energy because they're just like burning bright like the sun, and they want to go and they want to do and they want to have fun. Whereas like Pisces, they don't really want to grow up. They don't. They want to stay in this like little bubble of like fantasy and imagination. Like think about when you're a kid and the way that you play with like, let's play house. I'm the mom, you're the dad, you're the dog. That like way of thinking, using your imagination to feel like you're in a house when really you're just in like a box. That's the way that Pisces can sometimes live their entire life. Where they're just in this like fantasy, or they're really drawn to things like that because, you know, they're really prone to having dreams, lucid dreams, or like being able to envision things on a different level. Like, so we're gonna transition into why they're connected with drugs and alcohol because of some of these traits. So feeling like no one gets you emotionally, or that you want to like kind of run and hide. Michael Jackson was a Pisces moon. I know he has super innocent soul. I believe that as well. And I believe his whole like Neverland, his whole thing with children, like honestly, you can believe what you want. Michael Jackson was one of my biggest heroes, so he really can do no wrong. I honestly feel like he was such a gentle and sweet soul, and he loved children, because I feel that his childhood was taken away from him with how he grew up and what he was forced into doing, or like grew up being this huge icon and having to grow up and being so responsible and having things that he had to do, that he loved play pretend, and he loved imagination, and he loved his, you know, connecting with children because they saw things and they saw the world in a way in which that he was robbed of, if that makes sense. My Sagittarius fiance always envies my ability to sit, have a look at the world with innocent eyes. Yeah, whoa, my curtain is going crazy. Please don't ruin my plant. Wind, I will not be happy about that. Ooh, somebody else said something and I lost it. Yes, I agree. I know intuitively that he didn't do what he was accused of. You know, and what, that aside, it's more so like, I think his whole, you can even look at some of his like music videos. Like the one is, the one that's like, just stop, leave me alone. That whole like, girl, leave me alone. Oh my god, I fucking love that song. No, but the whole thing is like this like carnival ride, and he's on this roller coaster and he's going around, and it's like trippy and like weird and like all these imaginative things. And like, if you think about the ways in which he shaped his music, he was like doing Thriller, one music video, and then the other music video was like so different. But anyways, that is kind of bringing into a little bit of Aquarius energies, which I feel like he was as well. I don't know, don't go coming from I'll leave if he wasn't, but that whole like living in a dream or bringing up fantasy things, they're really artistic as well. It doesn't have to be like drawing artistic, although sometimes you do have the ability to be a really wonderful artist. If it is artistic wise, it's probably being drawn to more of a style like something fantasy like either Monet, impressionistic ways of very flowy, watery, like dreamy type landscapes, or Pisces is like maybe cartoon, maybe you're an anime artist, or you're, you know, you're really into like fantasy imagery or whatever. Again, other things are going to combat or interact depending on what other signs you're with, but at a general like pure level, fantasy is a big part in art. Video games, because it takes you out of this world and allows you to escape. The chopping teeth in that video scared the crap out of me when I was like 7. Oh my god, I loved it, Victoria Lynn. I was like, yes, this is amazing. But I have my Mars in Pisces, so I'm really like, I love anything fantasy. It's like what makes me go. Yes, I studied a master's degree in music. I studied film composition. Anything that is emotional or connected emotionally, or the arts. It's different than Venus, because Libra and Taurus ruled by Venus is the arts as well. but it's artistic in a different sense of being able to connect to these things in a subconscious way that is a little different than the other signs. They're really drawn to self-pity. This is a sign that can get very easily depressed. We did talk about that in other signs, but I would say because of the fact that Pisces feel like so emotional and so sensitive and want to get sucked into this other like way of thinking, that they're really easy to be like feeling when they have to be in a situation. There's a lot of factors that could come into it, but a lot of Pisces energy can get depressed very easily because they feel like they don't belong. They want to escape, and depression is a mechanism in which people can escape from the reality or their problems. And I'm sorry if that sounds really harsh and you've dealt with depression or anything like that, but if you think about it in more of a logical way, I mean, it doesn't make it right or wrong or easy or hard. It's just like it is something that Pisces can tend to, because it's either that realization that they don't get life, they don't get things the way that other people do, and they can feel very alone and detached, or they can kind of subconsciously put themselves in that situation so that, again, it's kind of like a mechanism that's like, I don't get it. Okay, good. It says no. Victoria Lynn says no, it's not harsh, it's true. Good. I'm not meaning to trigger anybody or to offend anybody by saying like you made yourself depressed. That's not what I'm getting at all. I'm really not. This is just something that you could imagine, that if somebody is really drawn to like all these very fantasy things and they're really not dealing with the here and now as much as like the past and the future, and like the subconscious and fantasy based and wanting to escape, that it's very easy for somebody to feel depressed and detached from others because they're in their own little bubble. So you could see how somebody might be addicted or prone to drugs. And when we talk about drugs, we're really talking about drugs. We're not talking this is the house of addiction. I'm just going to say it. Most of the reason why it's the house of addiction in general is because when you become addicted to something, it takes you out of your realities, it takes you out of your responsibilities, and it allows you to be escaped. So we're talking about the hardcore stuff like heroin. We're talking about real deep issues, deep rooted into pills. Anything that's going to allow you to escape or to kind of come outside of reality into a nice way of thinking. But when you're not high or when you're not on that substance, it's like really hard, really hard for you to get and break loose of it, because it's easier for you to deal with things in this nice high mode. Okay. Yup, which is why I have a clean life. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. Please don't take it the wrong way. Please don't wanna fall down that rabbit hole. The two friends I have that are Pisces both have addictions. One to drugs and alcohol, the other to shopping. Doesn't matter what it is. You're gonna find some way to escape, to make you feel like you're, outside of your real life, And I'd say that it rules addiction because a lot of people can have like obsessions or addictions in like a more way. Like this is like, I'm addicted to tarot. Yeah, but sometimes it's like, I'm talking about like, you know what I'm saying. My father was a Pisces alcoholic all his life. So when we talked about the other signs that are like drugs, so we talked about like Libra being prone to like kind of using marijuana or maybe pills because of the imbalance thing or whatever. Like those aren't as much as addictive. The pills I can find sometimes as being that energy. But really, when we're talking about addiction, using and feeling them as an escape. When we talked about Sagittarius being really one of the alcohol, because it's like, I want to party, I want to go, I want to be free, I want to be spontaneous and be adventurous. If they end up being addicted or being an alcoholic chances are they didn't get that way because they were trying to escape. It just happened. Like, it was like, oh, wow, I found myself going to the bar every other night because I really wanted to go out and talk and be free and explore and have fun and be spontaneous. And now all of a sudden I'm sitting back going like, whoa, do I have a problem? Yeah, I do have a problem. But it's not because I'm addicted to this substance because it takes me away. It's more so like I like this environment and stuff like that. I have Sag Sun, Virgo Moon, and Pisces Rising. All the addictive signs. No, I think every sign has the ability to, you know, have their things that they could be addicted to. So please do not take this the wrong way, and don't be scared if I'm calling out some of your main signs. I would just, because, like, again, any of the signs could be addictive to anything, but when it comes to, like, the hardcore drugs or hardcore addiction, I would say we're really talking about Pisces here, and the reason for that is because it allows them to escape. It allows them to feel like they're in a fantasy or that they don't have to deal with their problems and their responsibilities. Let's move on. Really, Pisces Ascendant is some of the hardest ones for me to pick out, actually. I feel like it goes back and forth, and I feel like if you see someone with a Pisces Ascendant, I can easily mix up that with another sign. I feel like because it's such a watery, kind of like mutable sign, that it's not, you're not going to, a lot of the times you're not going to find somebody with a Pisces Ascendant where you'd be like, oh, you have a Pisces Ascendant, because it's like, it kind of just lets the other things in your chart have like a front run, if that makes sense. The eyes, to me, are a big indication of I can see Pisces. Again, please don't take this the wrong way, but a lot of the times I find Pisces have rounder faces. Very, your eyes might be a little bit more far apart than close together. Really round features. And I don't mean like fat or thick. I mean like you're going to have very gentle, subtle features. You're not going to have a very like harsh nose or straight lines anywhere. You're going to have probably really round cheeks or a round face, very gentle features, very round nose, very maybe plush, round type lips. Again, I don't mean this very mean either, but you might have like squishy body features, and I don't mean fat. I mean like, think about how Capricorn's like bone structure and bone and like this and that. Like Pisces is just gonna have this like watery kind of like gentle way about them. Gentle kind of features, again, unless it's mixed with other things that are going to combat or you're going to have something else on your ascendant or whatever. Like I said, I'm a Virgo. I tend to do my makeup the same way. I've never cut my hair. I've had my hair the same way. Yes, people say I look gentle. Yeah, I mean, Pisces also is kind of one of the signs, though, that might have like blue or yellow hair or like want to dye their hair different colors, but it's for different reasons. It's not to be different, and it's not to like go against the grain and be like, yeah, I have blue hair and like whatever. It's more so like the fantasy base where it's going to be like, I feel like I should have blue hair because in another world where I lived, or like, you know what I mean? Or like, this is what my favorite fantasy character looks like, so I'm going to cosplay. That's another thing, is like the Comic-Cons, the cosplay, like all of that is very Pisces because it's like taking themselves out of reality. Also, I look like I'm 15 even though I'm 24. Yes. Very like, that's another thing. Good thing to bring up. Yeah, you could have very like baby face for guys, or like for girls. It might be that you look a lot younger than you really are, which is like good for you. You're describing my best friend to a T. Yeah, me too. I look 19, but I'm 30. Well, aren't you guys lucky? Yeah, so I would say, yeah, when it comes to like your actual physical dress, like maybe like your style or anything, I guess that's kind of different per person. I wouldn't really say that like I could pick that out very easily. At least I'm not very good at it. But when it comes to like physical features, when I'm seeing someone like my best friend Skylar, He's got a Pisces ascendant, and he just has he just has very round cheeks, very gentle features, very, yeah, I don't know. Skylar, if you're watching, we've talked about this, so I hope you don't, you're not offended I'm bringing you up. The weird thing is that, like I said, George has a Pisces ascendant. He does not at all look like a Pisces ascendant to me. He's got very chiseled jawline. My boyfriend's very good looking, but he also is very long, very he doesn't really have gentle, watery features. And to me, this may be just my opinion, this might not be fact, but for what I found in my my circumstances and my ways, since he has a Scorpio sun, Aries moon, and all these other energies that kind of combat with his Pisces, you don't really see it looking physically Pisces. You can only get it when you get that glimpse in how he starts things, and he's very sensitive and emotional, even though you might not get that. But he doesn't really have these big round features or anything. He's got very chiseled. So I think that he has allowed energetically his other signs to influence, because he just wants to kind of, that sign is very, it's not a harsh in your face kind of signs. Yes, I dress more like my sun sign. I think that's why I have a hard time picking that out. I get Pisces more energetically than I do on a visual sense, if that makes sense. We're over 2 hours now, and there's a lot of things that I want to get into. So I'm just, I mean, I don't know. Should we stop? I mean, there's other things that I feel like we could definitely get into. But how are you guys feeling? How do you guys feel with what we learned about? Do we have any questions? Do we have anything that maybe I didn't explain good enough for you guys in past live streams or this one? I might not answer your question if I feel like it's going to be too complicated, but is there anything that maybe you thought I was going to cover but I didn't? Pisces, I feel like maybe I described Pisces in a more harsh way too, but Pisces are really one of my favorite signs, because I have Pisces in a couple areas of my chart that I feel like are very prominent, but you wouldn't really see or know that from me. But Pisces I connect with very well, because I just get their way of thinking. They want to feel fantasy, and they want to be and discover and play, pretend, and think of things in an imaginative way or dreamlike state. I didn't have any actual birth time, and a lot of Pisces ascendant sounds similar to me. Is it possible that not knowing my birth time could alter my ascendant? Oh yeah, if you don't know your birth time, it's very difficult to find your ascendant, so I'm sorry about that. What I can suggest to you guys, the chart claims Libra. Well, the chart claims Libra. What did you put in for your time? How did you get the time that you put in? Did you ask someone, or did you just guess with what maybe you kind of remember? Or maybe your mom was I don't know, felt 3:30 in the morning, could have been 5, and that's why you're I don't know my actual birth time. So when it comes to getting your actual chart, it is really difficult to get a precise chart if you don't know your actual birth time. It can be done with a really good astrologer, or kind of with deductive reasoning. I tried 5-minute intervals from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. because she said early morning, and nothing changed on my chart online. Okay, that's one of the ways that you can go about doing it. So if you guys maybe don't have your birth certificate, or there is a time period in the world where some places that don't do birth charts or birth certificates, or maybe they didn't put a time on there. There was a couple decades where they're why do we put time? This isn't important. We don't need to do this. But they've started doing it again, or for whatever reason, maybe your parents are passed and you don't have a birth certificate or whatever, so you have nowhere to go, or you don't know where to get it. My birth certificate didn't even list the time. It was so annoying. I find that happens quite a bit. Ascendant changes every 2 hours or something. Yeah, but if you're not sure on your time, it is still good to kind of play around. I'd say more so with half-hour intervals, just to kind of see. But you guys, why it matters is because if you think about it, the planets are, oh my god, you're saying a lot of stuff, you guys. I was born on March 19th, so does that make me a Pisces Aries cusp sign? We didn't get into cusp, Victoria Lynn. Let me stay on this topic for 1 second and we can go there. We need the TARDIS for this. Yeah, so you can grab also what's called an ephemeris. I didn't bring it out, but basically it tells you, it predicts or it shows where all of the signs will be and the planets will be, to what degrees. This is how we use astrology as a predictive tool. So that's where transits come in, and we haven't even touched on that. That's why we're going to do other things, and we're going to let this book club be something else next week and moving forward, because there's just, you could go on and on and on forever and ever and ever, and it's so interesting, and it's so great, it's such a wonderful tool and thing to discover and learn. But the planets are always moving, they're always going and interacting and hitting certain things and going retrograde, or, you know, being in square or conjunct or trining other planets, and it's gonna, you know, affect us, or either on a community level or even on a more personal level. Ever heard of Jesus the Baby Killer? Well, anybody moderating my line that could like help this person out, or, you know, deal with that. So when it comes to finding your chart and you don't have your birth time, Christine had a really great thing to do. So put in your birth time and location, play around, okay? So, thank you, Sam. So, go on to one of the websites that I have linked in the bio of this, when it goes, or go back to one of the past ones. Cafe Astrology is one of the really good ones. And then there's another one, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll link one of them down below. Go in there. You need to put in your location of birth, not the location of which you live now if you've moved. Where were you on the planet when you took your first breath? Okay? It's going to give you a general, so find the city. But if you were really diving deep and doing this, you would be doing to like the actual longitude and latitude of the place that you were. But it's going to come up with a pretty clear chart for you. If you have your time, you have to think about the planets are consistently moving. Now, Pluto takes a really long time to move, so chances are, if you do that whole day, Pluto's going to be the same position it's at. It's not going to really move. Whereas your Mercury, your sun's going to be the same because it stays in its place for, you know, a month. Or so, give or take, you know, but all these other things, and like your ascendant is going to be shifting, and the planets are going to be moving. So like if you see something in your chart that's like on the border, where you can see up here, see how my Mercury and my moon are straddling this line, minutes apart from each other, this could move this planet from one house to another, which means completely different thing. Having your moon in the 8th house of Scorpio is a much different energy than having your moon in the 9th house of Sagittarius, let me tell you. So that's why your timing really, really affects the specifics of your chart. Did you do Leo yet? I had to miss a while. I'm so sorry, Save Daily, we did. You can watch the playback. I'm specifically talking about Leo as one of the signs that people really had a hard time with me describing. So if you do go back and watch that, please know, and please don't take anything personally. I did this live, and I'm just rolling off the cuff with what comes out, and I think that people had a really hard time with how I described Leo. And a lot of people were saying that I didn't know that sign as well as I did the others, and I don't think that's the case. I think maybe just the things that I covered or the things that I said didn't jive as well, or maybe I could have focused on other aspects. So please feel free to go back and watch the live stream. It'll be titled, like, it'll have Leo in the title, and you'll know, and there's a timestamp below in the bio where it says where you can go right to Leo. Just know before you go there that I really did mean my best intent, and I didn't mean to shed a negative light on Leo, and I hope that you get some insight to that energy in that sign. And if you have any other questions, you guys could always email me or DM me. Would having a Pisces ascendant still have a fantasy world aspect? That describes me a lot. Yeah, it does, but just keep in mind, you could have a, let's just say you had a Scorpio ascendant, but because that timing fits in there, and you had, or you, like you said, it came up with Libra for you, so let's say Libra was what you stuck with, check what you have in your 12th house of Pisces, because even though, because I really connect with Pisces energy, but that's because my Mars is in Pisces, and Mars is what motivates you. It's the go, it's the, like, so I went to school for art. I'm very, very drawn to reading fantasy novels. I love video games, but not really like the first person shooters. I love like the story. I loved like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and like things that are like fantasy world. Like I'm into all of that. But I have no Pisces in my first 3 and none in the houses or anything like that. It's that Mars in Pisces. So just take a look, just play around. I'm really sorry. There's no real great way to do it other than trial and error and to do what feels best for you. I'm a Scorpio sun, Libra moon, and ascendant, it said. Great. Take a look at your 12th house, or take a look at what planets might be in Pisces for you. Oh yeah, Elder Scrolls, yeah, all the otherworldly stuff. I definitely will. We Leos are sometimes indescribable. You know, I just know that I did the best that I could, and I love Leos. My papa, my favorite person in the whole world was a Leo. He was the most wonderful man. He was so great with us as kids. He was so fun to be around. He was so energetic and loving, even though he had like 5 planets in Taurus. I love Leo, and I did the best I could. I'm not going to retract anything that I said, but maybe I could have gone a little bit deeper or described Leo in better ways. And you guys definitely let me know that. You definitely told me that I could have. So anyways, I love you all. I'm not trying to complain or whatever. Just know that if you're watching any of them and you didn't connect, or maybe I focused on things that were a little bit like more negative, I just did what I could and it came out. My future BF is a Leo. Leos are warm and they make great entertainers. Definitely agree with that. I don't think you said anything bad about any signs. You can't really describe every possible aspect of every possible energy flow. I think that should be obvious. Yeah, I know, but I have gone back and watched and thought like, okay, well, I did kind of focus a lot on that. Or maybe I said things in a way I could have worded differently. But anyways, let's talk about that. We're 2 hours and 16 minutes into this live stream. Since this is the last one, I am going to take like some more questions if you guys want. I'm really sorry if you're someone that can't find your time. Trial and error. Take a look at things. Really, the areas in which I find help to know where, like, if things are right or not, are the outer planets. And what I mean by outer planets is like Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, or Saturn. Take a look at where those, okay, I'll go over that. Pisces dietary requirements, I will go over that. Take a look at where those planets are in what houses. If you have some that are straddling 2 different houses, so what I mean by that is like they're close to a line, like maybe like a couple like hours difference or an hour difference, it could shift it from like the 2nd house to the 3rd house. Go online and read, like let's say it's Neptune. Read what Neptune in your, you can go to Google and just say Neptune in the 2nd house. Read what that means, and then look up Neptune in the 3rd house and read what that means. Find which one you connect to more, and if you don't connect to it in the 2nd house, you might want to try and see what your chart looks like a couple hours later, where it might push it into the 3rd house, if that makes sense. The only thing is, the reason why I'm talking about that is because like the inner planets, like Mercury and Mars and Venus and all those really do matter, and they're really energetic, but because they take less time to travel around, I feel like, well, I don't know, I guess that's one of the ways you could do it, is look at whatever planet it is, or whatever sign. Like, it's not more so your ascendant, it's, you can find your ascendant by looking at the other planets in your chart, the ones that are like straddling different houses, and be like, no, I definitely don't connect with Neptune in the 3rd house, so okay, it must be before this time, because if I put in this time, then it pushes it into the 3rd, I've definitely got Neptune in the 2nd house, or whatever. That will help you find trial and error of like, then once you have and you read where all your planets are in those houses, and you go, okay, this really feels like me, then take a look at your ascendant. It's kind of hard to like try to find your chart based on what your ascendant is, if that makes sense. So now you want to talk about like Pisces diet. That's kind of funny. Let me think for a second. I would think Pisces. Oh, Pisces are very compassionate. I would say that they could be vegetarians or vegans, and they're not going to do it so much for the health reasons as they are the compassion reasons. Or you could have a very seafood-based, watery diet, so you really like salmon or crab or things that are going to connect you to water. But you're going to have a very compassionate way of thinking about food and diet. Yeah, seafood. Yeah. So you're going to really love like water foods or foods that contain a high amount of water. That would be my personal knowledge on what that would be. Yeah, you love seaweed? Nice. So my grandma has a Pisces moon, and she hasn't ate red meat in decades. And more so, she was thinking about it on a compassionate level in the beginning, and now I think she's stuck with it more for just health reasons. But yeah, thinking about your food emotionally and what you eat and what you put in your body, and really having an awareness of like how things work and like what happens, you could tend towards having like more of a plant-based diet, or if not, you could be eating mac and cheese and drinking a little bit of vodka for dinner, because mac and cheese makes you feel like a kid, and you're sitting down and you're playing your video games and you're having a little vodka at night because it helps you like feel like you're escaping. Was that mean? Are people going to take that the wrong way? I'm just saying. What else could it factor into your diet? I don't know. That was a fun question. This is going for 2.5 hours. Does anybody else have any questions or anything that they want to discuss? We are going to be doing... No, that makes sense. Okay, you guys, let's recap. Let's finish this up, because I could keep talking forever. I love this. I will continue to do astrology live streams. Just know that I really, really loved doing this. It was very fulfilling to me. It was something that you guys have asked me to do for so long, and I just was so scared to do it because I wanted to do it justice. I really take this seriously. It is a really big passion of mine, and I just was afraid that I wasn't going to shed things in certain lights, or that, you know, I wasn't going to be able to organize my thoughts and get my Gemini state together to be able to, you know, cohesively teach you guys something or to talk about something. So just know that it's... Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I love you too. Thank you so much for tuning in live. You've been here consistently, and I really appreciate that. Oh my gosh, okay, hold on. I was born on the March 19th, so does that make Pisces Aries cusp sign, if you don't mind talking about that? Yes, hold on, let me get these other comments. I want to do that with vegan mac and cheese. That sounds like a great idea. So, okay, and yes to the comfort foods and Pisces. Well, comfort foods and eating things for comfort reasons was Taurus. Remember we talked about Taurus and wanting comfort and like hearty, big meals that maybe your mom made or whatever. But Pisces is going to be like, what did I eat when I was a kid? Like, or what is like really easy and like, anyways. So yeah. Victoria Lynn wants to know about cusps. So cusps are important. We didn't talk about them. There actually is, do you have the book, Victoria Lynn? Do you have the book? Because there's a whole section in here about cusps. So I'm going to answer, but I'm not really going to answer this. And let me show you. There's a whole section of moon signs. So this is like moon and Taurus. So if you want to dive deeper and know more, like what I didn't talk about or what I did bring up, yes, I do. Okay, so there's a whole section in this book that is about cusps. And I'm trying to find this section. Again, ascendants and moon signs. So here's Pisces ascendant. Let's just read randomly right here. If you have a Pisces rising, you tend to have large, luminous eyes and sensuous mouth. You are likely to have wavy hair and well-shaped feet. So if you want to keep going, basically you have a dauntless goodwill towards others. You can tend to be very sociable, fond of entertaining, and very joy and warmth of compassion. You love good life, fine food and drink, especially beautiful clothes, and travel at parties. These are Pisces rising people. The word sentimental, you could literally, there's so much in here, you guys. But then I'm trying to find where the cusps are so I can tell you guys here. I think it's kind of in the beginning, like right after. We have the combinations between signs, you know, the pros and cons of like how things could interact with each other, how to attract Gemini, how to attract Cancer, combination. Like, this is why it's called the only astrology book you'll ever need, because we only went over the very basics, and this goes so in depth. So if you guys want to grab this book, that's why I didn't just say, oh, and in the back here, they have this is what an ephemeris looks like, you guys. So it's like, here is the day, the year, the month. So this would be 2080 is the page we're on, because you can calculate the speed at which planets are moving and they're going to hit certain degrees. Okay, so this is where all of the planets will be in 2080. You can look at July 1st. You know, all of these things are going to be like here, and that's how we use it as a predictive tool, because we can say this planet's going to transition into this sign and combat with these signs. Generally, we might be able to, you know, say that this and this might happen, or this is how this energy might be able to interact with things, or on a more personal level. You have Pluto, it's transitioning your ascendant. This might happen to you. Let's be aware of this, and we use it as a tool. You guys are saying a lot of things. Cusps. 4 out of my 5 children are cusps. I have a much older copy. I'm trying to find it in here, you guys. I tend to not go in too much of cusps, and especially with something like this, because I didn't want to like overwhelm you. If you're in that sign, whatever sign your sign is, that's your sign, okay? So if it's a Cancer, cusping Leo, think of it as Cancer. But you might take on some of that Leo quality, or you might find yourself being drawn towards a little bit of Leo energy. But you're Cancer. Okay, but you might be more Cancer and having a little bit more of that Leo energy than you would be to having the Gemini, because you're further on the energy. Also with your charts, things go from 1 to 30 degrees. And so, or if you have what's called an interception, whoa, we're getting really in depth. I'm not going to go there, you guys. So we might save that. An interception in your chart is going to be so different, and we might go to a different live stream. Anybody else have any questions for today that we can finish up with? I'm going to remind you guys now that if you're coming in late, this is our next book, Earth Magic by Stephen D. Farmer. So if you guys want to get this book and join us for our next, we are moving on. I was going to, we're going to move on. This is the next book if you want to get it. We are, next week, still doing Witchy Book Club. We're not going to be discussing this book too much. I might be like going into it a little bit and kind of assigning reading. I'm not even going to assign any reading for you guys today. If you already have this book, maybe we'll just, like, your assignment for this next week is to read the introduction, okay? Because nobody has the book yet, so I want to give you guys time to order and get the book, because I didn't do that last time. So just read the introduction, and maybe we'll touch on this a little bit and what I'm like excited for or something. But next week we're going to be doing just like a Q&A kind of casual thing to transition into the next book. I'm about to hit 2,000 subscribers. I'm so excited. So come with questions. It could be astrology based, it could be tarot based, it could be spirit based, family based, personal based, whatever you guys have been curious about. And you want to know, we're going to do this, and I will answer your guys' questions. You guys are commenting so much. Holy crap. Okay, sorry, I was just curious. Thank you for trying to answer. I was just confused. I'm sorry, Victoria Lynn. It's a little bit more complicated than I want to go on here, but Google is a really wonderful tool. I guess I don't want to keep going because I feel like my Gemini sun is not going to allow me to like condense it and explain it very well in less than a half hour, you know what I mean? So just Google what the cusps are, what they mean, or again, if you have the book, I can't find it where it's in here, but I know it's in here. The cusps are in here, so maybe look in the back, or, I found it! The cusps of Aries. So it starts on, I think, page 161, I just flipped right to it. See how it says the cusps of Aries, and it gives you each cusp. So the cusps that are like, towards the Pisces side and then towards the Taurus side. And it does that for all of these signs, and it gives you a little bit of these in here. 161 is the page that it's on. What else were you guys saying? Oh my gosh. Thank you for this. I have just never understood astrology. Oh good, I'm so glad, Carmen. I hope that it helped a little bit, and that gave you, you know, even if you don't go any further with it, maybe it helped you understand yourself or some other people or their signs and energies a little bit more. Victoria Lynn, I think you can look at both signs who are technically on the cusp. Yeah, and I think that different astrologers have differencing opinions on this, and which is why I didn't want to go into it. I was taught that it matters, it influences it, but you don't read it like you're Cancer and Leo. And if you look in the book, it gives you a very small section in there where it says, like, you're Cancer, but this is how that Leo energy coming in might influence you a little bit. That's just kind of how I was taught, but it's a little controversial, I think, in the astrological world, where some people are like, no, if you're on the cusp, you're both of these. And that's okay, too. I don't really resonate with that as much. So if you want to discover it more, it's in the book. Looking forward to the next book. I really enjoyed watching this Witchy book club. I love you, Heather. Thank you. I'm really excited to move on as well, even though I love this topic. I will look at that, and thank you, Tammy Pie. The best thing about the book is how simple it is. Yeah, it really is like, here it is. Here. It's a very textbook style, but because of what the subject matter is, it's like a textbook that you actually want to read and dive into. Okay, you guys, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. I have to stop. No one's going to click and watch this playback. I love you all so, so much. Thank you so much to all of you who are here and learned and grew and was gentle to me during this and was excited for it. I love you all so much. I cannot wait to do another book and to continue to talk about this as well, but on other days and in my own time and place. So make sure you're following me on Instagram if you're not. Oh, I do want to make one more announcement on here before we go. Because I'm going on vacation, I am only going to be offering readings through my website until this Thursday. And then I'm going to be shutting it down because I want to give myself enough time to like do the readings that I get before we go on vacation, and I have a couple more that I already have sitting in my queue that I need to do. And then I'll be shutting my shop down for most of June. And that's not for me to like promo, go out, but I've had a couple people reach out to me saying that they wanted to get readings from me, but they're not going to be able to for a week or two. Just know, I'm not telling you you have to do it now or never. Just know that like if you come to my shop to get a reading from me, in the next, you know, month or two weeks, and it's shut down or there's no readings available, it's because I'm on vacation and I'm not going to be doing readings. So that's just for anyone that might be like, oh, I kind of wanted a reading, but like I don't know when. If you want to, I'm going to have it available until Thursday on my website. And I have a really, really great and wonderful astrological association tarot spread where I use each of the signs and energies as one of the card's positions, and it's one of my favorite to do. So check it out if you want. My website is down below. I love you all so